The wonderful thing about Razzies is Razzies are wonderful things. Hello and welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. My name is Jericho Reed. With me, Cal Szymanski. Welcome back, Cal.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's good to be back in the Razzie chair. We've got another film to pick over. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. I'm full of a childlike sense of wonder. You?
Yeah, I am. I'm happy to be back. It's the gift that keeps giving, isn't it, Razzies? Yeah, I'm excited.
So, for those of you new to the podcast, anyone jumping on board, me and my friend Kyle here sat about watching every single Razzie Worst Picture winner, a quest which we completed a few weeks ago. And so this is our first one since finishing. We have watched the entire Razzie canon up to this point, and we waited with bated breath to see what we would be delivered, what Mr. Razzie would leave under the raspberry tree for us this year. And it was, as we predicted in our preview episode, Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yep.
So
it wasn't The Exorcist.
No.
So, I'm happy already.
The real winner of Razzie Night is you. The fact that you're not having to watch The Exorcist, and we'll never have to watch The Exorcist.
I'll never ever have to watch The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Razzie.
Just ship it off to HBO Max and delete it forever. No need. For those of you new to the podcast, in the first half we discuss the winner, and in the second half we discuss the rest of the year and the other categories. But without further ado, let's get into it. Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey. What was your history with this film?
Very little.
Yeah.
And after watching it, still very little. But yeah, I knew about the sort of, I'm not even going to say viral. I don't think this went viral. I think people like to think this was a big phenomenon about gobbling up
There was a lot of
expired copyright
Lovejoys
characters.
Clutching pearls about this film, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was more of a little stir than probably. Yeah. It felt like a Grindhouse trailer. That's what I always thought. I thought
100%. Yeah.
That's
a
all
sketch
it is.
From the
all
early days of the internet, a Grindhouse trailer. Yeah, 30 seconds.
100%. College humor, or daily humor, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Winnie-the-Pooh killing people? He's not meant to do that. That doesn't happen. What next? Whatever are we gonna have next? Like, the bananas, the pajamas, committing suicide, Rosie and Jim partaking in incest, Elmo. God knows what Elmo would get up to. But it's just we don't want to spoil things too much. But yeah, there's not a huge amount of legs to this film. So my experience was similar to yours. I had heard of this when it caused like a big stir, and I just dismissed it because, like, looking at it, I was like, yeah, this seems incredibly tedious. Thankfully, this will go down the toilet of obscurity, and we will never have to see or think of this film ever again. But alas, Mr. Razzie had other ideas. I should actually say maybe I do have more of an extended history with this film. As I alluded to before in a previous episode, I saw a casting breakdown for it. So it wasn't the original shoot. I'm pretty sure the trailer had already been out, or like it had got that wave of interest, and then they posted the casting breakdown on Mandy saying like, hey, because of this renewed interest, we've got like budget increases and we're doing reshoots. And I don't think I even looked at the roles to see if I was suited for them. Because now I'd be kind of curious. It would be good to know what roles they were casting for in the reshoots.
Yeah.
We can speak about it as we go through the film. So that was my only other knowledge of this film, really. So let's jump right in.
So I don't know why. This is my naivety. So before I even get into the movie with you, I forgot it was British. I forgot Winnie the Pooh was British. I don't know why. I forgot Milne and all that. So I was shocked when it clicked as soon as I was like, oh my god, we're in fucking England here.
Yeah.
Great, actual British. Is this the first British Razzie winner? Because we cover fucking British films all the bloody time, and we are forced to watch them on DVD. But
like, Swept Away is probably like a kind of British production, I guess. But like,
I guess so.
Pure,
but this feels like the most far removed from Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
this is definitely unique in terms of like, yeah, you're right. It's a very British B movie swamp that this has emerged from. This is the furthest. For all Dinesh D'Souza likes to claim that he's like anti-establishment radical, this is like a world away.
This
yeah,
very much so. Which is why I was, we always you're talking about clutching at pearls.
Yeah,
I can't understand why this was highlighted by the Razzies. I can't imagine fat Hollywood losers zoning in on Winnie the fucking Pooh. That's why I was sitting there fucking confuddled already before like anything had even started in the movie.
Yeah, there are questions. Hopefully it'll become more clear by the end. But starting off, I just want to say it was already better than I expected with the little line drawing.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a little animated prologue kind of in the style of like the drawings that accompany A.A. Milne's book. And I was like, already production values are higher than I expected. I didn't think they would have been able to pay an animator.
No, I instantly thought, I loved it for the record. I thought, oh, this is neat.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the budget. I didn't know how much. I didn't know anything about the fucking film really, apart from the trailer. But I had assumed the little hype would have got them a little budget boost.
Oh yeah, you're right. That might be the reasons they're looking for a narrator.
That might have been it. Just all that is the animating. We'll frame it because that is your first thing you're gonna see.
Yeah.
So if it looks professional,
start strong.
People might. Yep. People carry on. They'll give you at least 20 minutes to try and keep their attention.
Yeah.
So, I was mightily impressed. I loved it. I thought, it was really close to the original illustrations, and thumbs up.
That was my next note actually, because this is a question which we will discuss later on, but it's good just to prime the debate around this film. So for people who are chronically online, they'll know that like the whole thing about this was Winnie-the-Pooh lapsed into public domain, which is why people are allowed to make this film without getting their proverbial pants sewed off by Disney. But the condition is that it's the text which entered the public domain. Yes. So you are allowed to adapt the text, but you are not allowed to adapt Disney's cartoon, which is why there's like conditions around it, such as anything which is unique to the Disney cartoon, such as him wearing a red shirt, you're not allowed to have. Kind of like how Oz the Great and the Powerful couldn't have like the Wicked Witch having ruby red slippers because they could only adapt L. Frank Baum's novel and not the MGM film. So I was like, with the animated things, I was like, these are so close to the drawings that I almost feel like they're running into the like murky territory.
If you again though, if you're going for whoever Milne's illustrator was, rather than Disney. You stay away from Disney, you're probably going to be safe.
Exactly. I guess like,
and I think of that when something sort of gets swallowed up into a bigger franchise or corporation rather.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of think this for when 20 years time when I get to adapt my Bond books.
Yeah.
When they lapse into public domain.
Yeah.
I know I can't use Q. I know I'm not getting the gun barrel. I'm never say never again in it. Basically, I've got no fucking choice. Yeah. Text
but
only.
You do
so
have
I know I've learned the lesson.
Sean Connery.
Not even death can prevent me. Yeah. So that. But I was always in my head. I was like, as long as you don't Disney anything looks like Disney, you're safe. Yeah. You're okay. Mm-hmm.
Because there's someone made up that like little rhyme of like, if he's shirted and yellow, be mellow, don't use him. If he's brown, then go to town. Of like, they're like, you can use the drawing of Pooh, but not Disney's Pooh. Because I would even say like this in this film, I guess they probably had a lawyer look over it, but like the mask is yellow. Like the original drawings of Winnie the Pooh, he's more sort of golden brown, like muddy brown, whereas he's clearly yellow. Like he honestly looks like. There's, of course, that story about how Michael Myers is a Shatner mask. Like, Michael Myers looks less like Shatner than Winnie the Pooh looks like he's just wearing, like, a store-bought Disney... Like, it's like someone's gone to Disneyland, taken a Pooh mask, and kind of fucked with it a little bit. Like,
I don't know. I don't think the actual mask is very Pooh-like. I think it's more the corpse of John Candy. I think it's... I don't know. I didn't think of Disney when I seen one of him. Other bits I do, but yeah, no, I think they're safe. I think it passes the Italian rip-off scale test.
I just think I wouldn't be surprised, like, just because this is like to reference my favorite movie, Bug's Life, with Sir Kevin Spacey, when he's like, "You let one ant stand up, then they all might stand up." I could see Disney being particularly tight on this, just because they're like, if we let anything go, then that just opens up the floodgates. So the fact
but you've got the you've got the mentality. I'm thinking here like blood and money. I'm getting this.
Yeah.
I think if you toe the line to prod it just enough, that you can claim innocence and naivety and probably get away with it. But if they react, you're just going to double your publicity, triple the money. Like
this is Disney, who like
that slight reaction.
Dead children for having like Winnie-the-Pooh on their tombstone and things like that. I just think he's a little too yellow, and the fact that he's wearing a red shirt at all.
But that's something you can correct in color correction.
There's someone with just a slider sitting next to like a Disney lawyer, being like, further, yeah.
No, exactly. It's an easy fix. Like you don't. No, Mr. Disney, keep it down. We'll just slide it off. It's all good. But then we've got the publicity. We are getting more eyes. We're the ones that managed to negotiate with Disney.
Yeah.
I think this is the perfect line. It's the reason it did well. It's the reason they're going to get a sequel. It's the reason the director's going to be a rich man. So fair play.
Yeah, fair enough. My next note. So this little prologue is like, starts off like, Christopher Robin went to the 100-acre woods and he was good friends with Owl, Eeyore, Kanga, Pooh, and then it's like he goes off to university and leaves them and never sees them again. And then the what is it he calls them? He calls them like hybrids or something, or like they became adolescent and they went a bit weird. They had awkward teen years. Like, I was like, are these the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like, he's basically like Winnie-the-Pooh's grown up since you last saw him. And, like, they're pissed at Christopher Robin leaving them. And Christopher Robin fed them, so they go feral and they eat Eeyore. So, that's the prologue.
That's it, though. There's your movie. That's your pitch. That's your synopsis. That's your plot.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense. No one cares.
Yeah.
You don't need to put any more thought into it.
Yeah.
I liked it as well. I was like, oh, that's pretty. I laughed, and I'm already getting comfortable into the B movie, Evil Dead experience that I'm excited for. So yeah, I'm all up for this at the start.
Yeah.
I will say as well on this prologue, the names, all the cast, I know nobody.
Yeah,
I know
of course.
Nobody. I don't know the director, the writer, but you're expecting maybe,
Jericho Reed. I recognise that name.
Malcolm McDowell, like.
Well, when we get to sequel talk.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. You get, and it's going to be someone and featuring blah blah as the narrator.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a pop, but nobody, no music, no production, not even the company. I was like, shit, this is real YouTube territory here.
Yeah. Okay, so my first real quibble came when Christopher Robin is like, "So long, guys, I'm away off to college to become a doctor." And I was like, no, not college, you're British, you're going to university. You're not becoming a doctor if you go to college, my friend. I hate to break it to you, Christopher, but that's not how things work here. And so the film's really interesting because obviously British filmmakers, British cast, British source material, they should just be British. I didn't pay like a lot of attention if they say rubbish or any like key British giveaways, but like in saying college, you're clearly like, okay, no British person would say that if they weren't trying to translate to an American audience. So this is clearly 100%. Built with an international audience in mind.
Yeah.
But it operates in a kind of weird no man's land where, like, you're right, as a kid I didn't really think of where Winnie-the-Pooh was. I was like, oh, it's just in the 100-acre woods. Like, yeah, Christopher Robin's British, but so is Peter Pan. And I was just like, oh, the entire world is London when I was like a kid.
I imagine 40% of the British landscape was probably inhabited by fairy-like creatures
100%.
and weird zones where you just different realities and pockets.
Yeah, I was like
different universes.
As a kid, I was like, The Simpsons. That's the entirety of America. Meanwhile, children's literature is all just taking place in the UK.
100%, and it's the permanent Victorian.
Yeah.
Background. Everything's 1865 outside of your house.
100%. It's 100%. All like Enid Blyton, like J.M. Barrie. That's just what it is. Okay, my next note. Why is there an abandoned truck in the 100 Acre Woods? And then I was like, why is the 100 Acre Woods a trailer park? Because Christopher Robin has graduated and he's taking his fiancée back to the 100 Acre Woods, which already is kind of weird because he's like, okay, I haven't seen my friends since I was a child, but I'm going to bring my fiancée there post-graduation. Like, you'd think he would check in on them rather than I understand. He wouldn't.
I'm going to defend this. He's under our fairy tale logic that they don't. They're talking living animals. They'll be fine. They'll get over it. They'll develop their own economy and ecosystem. And he's also smart to put a ring on his girlfriend before he introduces her to his woodland creatures back home. Yeah. You're locked in now, baby.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just meaning I would not that him not checking in on them. I just mean before I visited them, before I was introducing them, I would just pay a visit and be like, "Hey guys, so I'm gonna bring my fiance around later. Just be cool, right?" I would just.
And I also part of me thought he did imagine it.
Yeah.
And it's if you were like, "Oh yeah, my imaginary friends from back home," and then you did return back home and they were murderous cannibals that you'd abandoned.
This is not dissimilar to my experience whenever I returned to Aberdeen. They're like, "Here's all my school friends, blank and blank."
But yeah, I was on board. I'm still on board.
Yeah. Okay. So he brings his fiance there, and then the movie goes from 0 to 100. Is it because it's just they basically hear a noise and immediately they're like, oh my god, we need to hide under the bed in this treehouse. Yep. Of it's not I don't know, they don't witness anything. It's not like they see Pooh dragging the corpse.
I remember the noise. No, I remember a noise. It's too quick.
It's just something happens and they just leap to terror and are like, oh my god, we need to hide. And then my next note is just watched Piglet murder his fiancée. So I can't remember what this was about. My next note is Christopher Robin is awful. The guy, he is an atrocious actor.
I mean, that's one of my 6 fucking notes is he's got thankfully he doesn't have to carry it.
Yeah,
for the most part. Spoilers.
But he very nearly sinks it. When he comes back, spoilers, when he comes back, you're just the average level of acting in this film has just fallen off a cliff.
But yeah, on the note from 0 to 100, so I think it's Piglet strangles her, I think. I can't remember. Or beats her, and he strangles her, chokes her. Yeah. And Christopher gets pulled away by Mr. Pooh for revenge. And I at this point, I hit my mouse when I was watching this, right? And I was like, shit, we're a quarter of the way through the film.
You had your mouse in shock, Kyle, because you were so surprised.
Yeah.
What? I've never seen Piglet murder a fiancé before.
Never.
Something tells me this isn't my grandpa's way.
I totally forgot how short this film was as well. I remember we spoke about it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, this little nudge, and my jaw dropped. I was like, no way. This movie's going to be over in 2 minutes.
I think my note might have been he's so calm because he's I think he's trying to trying to reason with them. He's like, no, Piglet, Pooh, please stop. And
it's me. I'm sure it's me, Mr. Christopher Robin.
It's you have he's just murdered your fiancée and you're still trying to have a rational, and also he kind of just stands by as she gets killed. He doesn't try and defend her particularly. So Christopher Robin's just a wet blanket, a wet noodle, limp noodle. But then it becomes apparent that this is just a prologue, and I was like, great, Christopher Robin's been killed. He's not going to be the protagonist. Off we go. And so we get a really extended title sequence, which is kind of nice. I was like, I like title scenes. We get some music. We get It's like the kind of cliche thing of like news footage of like, there are reports of animals causing a hubbub in the 100-acre woods. A pantsless creature is running around stealing honey from people's houses. Hang on, wait, I'm getting a briefing. No, he is wearing pants. I can confirm he is wearing pants. And then we go into a therapy scene opening, which, you know, kind of cliche. We've seen that. God knows I've been in films that have opened with my character on a therapist couch. But
where's Bruno when I need him?
Yeah, God, what would I give for some Bruno? So this is our protagonist. Can you remember her name?
I fucking the actual team, the teenagers, not a fucking clue.
Is she meant to be a teen?
No, well,
yeah.
They're not
She has the teen in
I mean?
spirit, if not in age.
Teen in spirit, not in age.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember any of their names. Christopher Robin and fiance. You know, I didn't know she had a name.
Yeah.
If you're not a established AA Milne character, I'm not gonna remember you.
If you're not an AA Milne OC, we do not care.
Right, I'm gonna look it up though.
Okay.
Because it's gonna bug me.
So the protagonist named Blank is in therapy, and what is she talking about to her therapist? Like, it's general trauma. It's like some home invasion thing, isn't it? I can't remember how specific she gets at this point in time.
You know, I'm no help as well because I stupidly went on Wikipedia where they don't have pictures.
Oh, God.
So it could be Jessica, Alice, Zoe, or anybody.
Well, even if they do have pictures, we can speak about that a little bit later.
But yeah, sorry, continue.
Okay, so my note, this is where I first began to take issue with the actual filmmaking, because prior to this it's been reasonably technically solid, but the lighting is absolute dog shit. So like the protagonist is kind of okay, but the therapist is just sitting in the dark. Like her shot is lit appallingly. Like she's got like a blind open. Like I couldn't work out what they were trying to do with lighting, but I was like, this shot just looks like crap. And it's maybe because I'd spent like a week like color grading something, and I was like, this just looks.
And it's inconsistent as well throughout the film because some of the exterior stuff I like. You know, you're using easy, Rame techniques. Yeah. You're just car lights and just headlights, and we'll use everything's fine. But when you're shooting inside, it's fucking darkness or just the weirdest like sources because they're real natural light. They haven't thought it through. They're not experienced enough.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That's cool.
It's just like they hired their DP who was like amazing at shooting like nighttime horror stuff because it looks good. Like I agree with you. Like they maybe overdo it with the Atmos at times, but like it looks good relative to budget. But it was like I was waiting for the DP to be like having a conversation with the director. Like, listen, I'll be honest with you, pal. I've never shot a scene during the day before.
Yep.
How do you light it? Well, we'll just put the therapist in as much shadow as we can.
We'll put them. The therapist works night in the woods. There we go. Done. We'll just relocate. And if that's your if you've got someone that's their speciality, that's fine. I don't expect Sergio Leone to direct an office
what
scene.
is 90% of the movie. Like they made the right call, yeah. But like the absolute nonsense of a therapist's office. Because I was trying to be charitable, where I was like, okay, like in this post-pandemic era, lots of people have home offices, so maybe this is believable. But like it's just transparently like an Airbnb because it's like they're in like a wooden cottage. The therapist has a vase with nothing in it. Like it looks like there should be a flower in it. It's like when we've made films like ages ago and you just kind of go a little bit wild where you're like, oh, that would be cool in the shot, let's add this and let's add this, and then you just end up with like a simple shot just with like tons of clutter because you don't really know
clutter. That's it. It's that poor set design where we've got a showroom, we've got an Airbnb, we can't move anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking furniture, but I can put things on
Someone's
shelves.
Got a painting of a dog. Should we edge that into frame? That'll make it a little visual interesting, won't it? Because over her head, so she has like no books in her therapist. Which like if I was going to see a therapist, you'd think like, or I don't know, maybe not if I was going to see a therapist, but if I wanted to sell a movie therapist office, What do you think? You think probably like maybe like framed diploma or something. You think like
oh yeah, I see Dr.
books.
Melfi's office in The Sopranos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, that very wooden,
Yeah.
clean,
Yeah. You think,
but clutterless as well. Hannibal didn't have a fucking cluttered room, did he?
You think many books? No, this therapist has one book, which is the dictionary. And then she has a candle next to it, which is just like, again, an Airbnb candle. And she has like a framed newspaper with the headline Archer Street bombs Berlin, which I was trying to decipher. I was waiting for like local therapist saves cat from tree. Therapist office burns down. Library of books and qualifications destroyed. But she also has a clipboard where she's just like idly taking notes. And then she has a book. She has just like a paperback book just open. Just like it's open, it's lying open as if she was reading. Like the woman was like, the protagonist was speaking. She was like, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just reading the latest 50 Shades of Grey because you're kind of boring me. Same problems week in, week out. Come on, just grow up, get it together. Come on." So I was like, this scene is shit. But again, I don't know. This isn't how these people make their bread and butter, so not gonna hold it against them. But that scene was like so bad. It was like room levels. I was waiting for framed spoons just to be.
Yes. Yeah. These scenes as well are again where I'm starting to think of padding. Yeah. Or reshoots that. Oh my god, we do need to make this over 25 minutes long. Yeah. So pad it the fuck out. Yeah. Let's put something rushed. This felt different. It felt like you. I feel this had a very small script, right? And I felt you went and shot the meat and potatoes, the slasher horror part of the film, and everything else is just based on what was left, reshoots from the hype, and they've tried to stretch it into making it a movie because it's so fucking point. And even me, I'm just get to the fucking point as well. I don't want to see this Airbnb. I don't want to see these terrible actors. It's not why I'm here.
Yeah. So the purpose of that scene is to establish that the protagonist has endured some form of trauma, and the therapist's advice, I think, is just like, you know what you need? Holiday with the gals. Like, just rent an Airbnb. I find this office on Airbnb. Just rent an Airbnb in the middle of the woods and go and just, like, get away from things and just decompress. And so they go off on, again, like a very, like, American coded road trip where it's like they've been driving into the middle of nowhere, and I was like, this is England. You're never in the middle of nowhere. Like, and so my next note is, I don't know if you will take this as an insult or not, but I was like, Major Kyle vibes from the long-haired guy.
Ooh.
Just because I'm like,
why?
Well, I'm like, there's an actor who is just chewing the scenery. He is eating his way through this because he does an American accent. He's like everyone in this film is English, and they're just doing like an array of English accents. But then there's some guy's like, "Howdy, y'all! I hear you're looking for gas."
Yeah. I mean, I loved him because I that's me popping. That's I've seen this. I've seen Texas Chainsaw. I've seen this film. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's me. If I'm in this film, if I'm being cast, and I rock up thinking that you got some animatronics or you've got some real cool effects going, and oh no, it's two fat lads in a mask, and that's our villains. I am chewing through it. Yeah. Yes. I'm giving you my best Pet Sematary impression for a solid 60 minutes. Yeah, okay, I give you that. Yeah. No, I would absolutely do that to this movie.
Which, like, also, like, the setup of the gas station is it's one of those American, like, attendant style.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like...
It's literally fucking Pet Sematary.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like, oh, you don't want to go down there. And
I was like, where is this movie meant to be? Because it should be in the UK, but these are things which are just completely alien here. But anyway, we then say goodbye to Kyle, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And we head off, and they get to the Airbnb. And so at first I was like, everything is like an Airbnb because they're in a wooden cottage. And then I was like, this is it. Like, it's so transparently clear that they filmed her therapist scenes in the house that they were using for everything else, because you can see it has the same like wooden struts. Like, it's just so transparently. It's almost like she's putting her bags into her bedroom and she walks past her therapist's office. It's just like transparent that they were like had one location. I'm like, we don't want to rent a second Airbnb.
Character, man. You know, the therapist hasn't rented out this place in fucking years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I will con my clients into fucking renting it out.
Yeah.
Be really good for your mental health if you rented my Airbnb for the weekend.
Yeah, and that's why she doesn't keep anything there, is because she's like, I don't want you like leafing through my filing cabinets with my notes. Like, she doesn't have like, it's not old fashioned. She doesn't have like filing cabinets with notes on patients. She doesn't even have a computer. Like, put a fucking computer on your therapist's desk. Already, it looks so much more legit than just like an empty vase. Like this, yeah, honestly, this movie. And so I kind of want to give it its dues for this, in that the protagonist and her crew arrive, and one of them is like, phone retreat, like, give me all of your phones. And I was like, okay, that's a clever way, because like people always speak about like, how do you deal with that in a modern horror movie when all of the problems can be solved by, oh, people have phones in their pockets. So the idea of people doing like a digital detox and detaching, I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm going to give this film credit for at least thinking of that being a potential plot hole, because everything else suggests it's not entirely rigorous about logic. And
that's an American plot hole, though, because if you step 2 meters out of any major city of the UK, you'd have no reception.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was like, the person might have just gone for like, oh, 3's experiencing a network failure, and
it's the most realistic, horrifying thing. You know,
my doctor's cheaped on the Wi-Fi. I've got a Luddite therapist who hasn't got Wi-Fi in her cabin, so yeah.
But I would also, like, it's no signal and all that's fine, but you're still. Don't draw too much attention to it as well. Just fucking move on. You know? They can just drop their phone while they're running, and it can smash. That's enough for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Again, though, it's just the same shit again and again.
Yeah. Okay, my next note is Pooh rips her top off, because we're just in porn parody territory now, where there's a girl who isn't a member of the camping group. We just see Pooh terrorizing like a different woman. Like, why is she here? It's like
I thought she was connected, but I'm going to be honest, Jericho. At the minute they arrive at the cabin in the woods, right, is the minute I'm like, oh no, like my heart's just autopilot from here on out. Like, hopefully hopefully I'll get to see like Rue or something. But I've got no fucking hopes at this point.
Yeah, so I think it's just like we join a terrorizing already in progress, and we just see Pooh chasing some random woman, and he like just rips her top off in like she's some form of like Bucks Fizz like rip off top, just like one fluid movement. And I was like, oh dear God, this is like a reshoot of like some horny producer was like, you know, we could sell this movie a hell of a lot easier if there was some tits in it. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, this is just
Executive producer Eli Roth, you know, I'm fucking...
I was like, this is just... Like, are we not above this in the year of our Lord 2024, this teenage boy bullshit? And, which, like, the film could be more leery. Like, if it just was that, I would be like, okay, fair enough. But it's the fact that this is in isolation. I was like, it just seems so, like... It's way more creepy because you're not making like an authentic 70s exploitation thing where this is just baked into the DNA of the film. It seems more like a just choice. So anyway, and then he's chasing this topless woman. He shoves her into a shredder or something. What is it?
Yeah. I've seen Fargo. I would say as well, like it's pretty fucking stupid to have it in 2024. It's fucking so redundant. But that is my theory of it just being cobbled together from various movies. Yeah. And they've watched Jason X or something, you know, and they're like, oh, like This is where it leans into scary movie territory when
Yeah.
it's, like you say, the porn parody of it as
Yeah.
well. It does feel very you don't give a shit as well at this point. You've got your money. I'm halfway through your film. Like,
yeah. Like, exactly. It's just like, it's a porn parody as opposed to something like provocative of like, okay, if you want to do this, if you want to go down this route, then really do it. Like, really get under the skin.
You can't,
but it's just
you can't anymore. You know, it's been done. Even the parodies.
Wait
have been
till
done
you
to
see
death.
my Elmo film, Kyle. Wait till you see my Elmo film.
If
You're
you're
not
gonna
going
do
to believe the things he gets up to. Larry David was right.
But then I would watch that. If you get this property and you do something with it and not just fucking rehash. You are not going to do your Elmo film where it's just Cabin in the Woods 4, you know? But Elmo's actually the monster. Okay. All the fucking Muppets at the end lined up in their cubes.
What would be the most humiliating character to get killed by? It has to be Elmo.
There's a dignifying death in Big Bird because he's big. Already terrifying.
Yeah,
he's big. He's a bird. He can kill already. Yeah. The immobile ones, I guess, like the Groucho and stuff.
Oscar the Grouch. No, he's mean. He's got attitude. He could,
but he can't move. I don't know. I think I can outrun. I thought he was disabled. I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought he was disabled. Win for representation. Was disabled Muppet placed in the bin. Okay, so my next note is fuck this elevated horror bullshit. Like, I'm really tired of horror movies where every single thing is a metaphor for grief and trauma, and how we were like, oh, you know what? Turns out that the pain you've endured might have made you stronger because it's exactly what you need to defeat this monster. And so when we get like a flashback to like the protagonist's trauma with like the home invasion, I might be getting this mashed up with like another movie, but I'm sure someone sneaks into our home and like is lurking over her and whatever, and she's like, oh no, oh god, and they're like, oh, but maybe that makes you tough and a way to help you defeat Pooh, whatever. I'm just like, I'm so tired. Like, can we not have our Winnie-the-Pooh slasher movie that isn't actually about like it's like in our beloved Autism Predator, where they're like, oh, autism is your superpower, and the things which make you incapable of fitting into society actually make you the perfect predator fighting machine. I'm like, can we please not make Winnie the Pooh a story about how our grief makes us stronger? Like, can we just not, can we not have our dumb slasher movie with zero going on underneath the hood? Can we not have them do that? But I guess that's just what like horror movies are now. We don't know how to write protagonists who aren't people overcoming trauma. So that's what this kind of becomes. But like,
of course it does, because it's fucking lazy, man.
Yeah, because nobody's written. There are no characters. Like,
there's nothing there. Yeah, like it's just fucking slaps. Again, it's just pad it out.
Yeah,
give it something. Give me justification for doing this, essentially, for paying people to be on set.
Yeah,
it's a fucking joke.
It's just like, I don't know. It's like funny when you have people who approach like really, I don't know. Just like as an actor, it's interesting when you get people who like I was working on like an audition. I need someone to help me take an audition, and they weren't like an actor, but they were actor adjacent, and they just kind of like took it on board to try and coach me on my performance, where they're like, okay, so what's your character biography? What's your backstory? What's your like objective in this scene? I was like, my objective is that I'm a guy selling toothpaste. Like, I don't need to have, like, this toothpaste does not need to have emotional significance to me.
No.
And the flip side of that is like directors who really want to talk about like, so like, what do you like envision for your character's like 5th birthday? What do you think happened to them on their 5th birthday? And I was like, well, to be honest with you, I haven't really thought about it because that's not the way I work as an actor. But like,
yeah,
the caveat to that is like this, we're just like, imagine if you had like any questions for the director about your character, like, so like, what's my character's second name? You're Lisa. That's it. You're the protagonist. Maybe you had some trauma, but
what's your second name?
Exactly.
What a coincidence! It's the same.
Exactly. Just like you have no discernible characteristics, which is like nobody in this film is a character. The most interesting thing about them is like accents, because the protagonist is kind of like London ERP. But there's like one of them is like northern, and she has like a relatively like not broad, but still just like, oh, like this will limit you for international audiences in the way that people expect like Trainspotting to be subtitled. I was like, people will be like, oh, I couldn't understand what that one, or not, but people will just comment on like, oh, that's a different accent to what you normally hear. So the fact that they didn't sand everyone off and didn't make them all American, I'm going to shout it out for like the diversity of accent here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they couldn't afford a dialect coach, and we'll see the next Winnie-the-Pooh. Yeah. It'll be like, Christopher, I say, Winnie's made a most frightful mess of your fiancé. But we then get a flashback to the Christopher Robin in the good old days, and that made me like remember watching the cartoon, and I low-key think, if it's not Kyle, I low-key think the young Christopher Robin might be the best actor in this, because he just radiates like the Tory kid energy that you get from Christopher Robin of like, oh hello mama, papa, I do love hanging out with
the fucking royal brats.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's exactly.
All three of them are Christopher Robins. You know, they're all fucking. Their little shorts are annoying as fuck. Yep, it's all there.
100%. And I was like, it just further hammered home how it's like the young Christopher Robin. He's making a choice. He's bringing that Tory kid energy. The old Christopher Robin is nothing. Like, he has no energy. He doesn't come across in any way. And I'm like, that's kind of the flaw of this film. I was like,
so it's the biggest fucking fumble, and it's in my how to fix the film. But we'll just go here. I'm skipping forward to it. If you just had this fucking kid be your main character and be Christopher Robin, had to survive evil, feral Winnie-the-Pooh. Yeah. You've got a movie there, buddy, and it's probably going to be watchable. Yeah,
you know, audiences are much more on board with like a kid in peril than they are like
a kid goes into the Acrewood. He wanders. Oh, mama, papa! He goes into the Acrewood, and instead of finding friendly Winnie-the-Pooh, he finds evil creatures. We'll get my animatronic Eeyore. It'll be all fine. Yeah, like it's simple. It's so fucking bafflingly simple, and you have the rights. Kind of. You have a kid that can pull off your Christopher Robin. Yeah. Just stop having 20 other actors getting paid to play Johnny and Maria and Bill, and just like it's so lazy, and that's so this is a big point where I'm like, this stuff's quite fun. This flashback, it's quite cool. Give me more of this. Just don't give me slasher in the woods.
Yeah, I'll tell you the problem with that, Kyle. Though. Kids don't have tits. Hard to sell a movie. Where are the redundant sex scenes going to come? And I hate that I've become like, I'm sounding like those like Twitter TikTok anti-sex scene Puritans. Let's be clear. I love sex scenes. Showgirls, great. That's no I'm objecting to. I'm just objecting to like slasher movies where they're like, okay, and then the killer, I guess, like rips her top off in one fluid move. Anyway, so I'm like,
that's fair. I'm just maybe desensitized by Italian cinema. I expect everything from family dramas to horrors. Everything's gonna get them out. So yeah, nothing's gonna surprise me anymore.
So that like I think the fact that the young Christopher Robin ages from like a little Tory kid into just a non-entity is kind of representative of the film's flaws of like. It's nothing. It's a void where you're like if you're going to do this edgelord stuff, make it something. Make Christopher Robin Jacob Rees-Mogg. Make him the chairman of the Conservative Party. Make him like a frat boy. Make him have aged into a character. Make him something, like make a statement. Make this movie be doing something. Like if you want to make this be about like the loss of innocence, like if you want to do your edgelord shit, then great, but like thematically support this by making it about the loss of childhood innocence. Like look at like Alan Moore's Lost Girls. Like I don't love it. But when he's like, oh, like, what if all these fairy tale characters were sucking and fucking? What if Peter Pan was molested by Captain Hook? That's doing something. There's creativity there. Like I don't know, gentrify the 100 Acre Woods and they become killers and they like I don't know, just like do something, like make it a comment on NIMBYism, but there's just like nothing. It's just like it is
100%.
It's just like, oh yeah, Winnie-the-Pooh, what have you killed?
Yeah, but that's it. That's if you're giving me the Winnie-the-Pooh is a gore fest horror film. Yeah. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to even go down that fucking way. Yeah. That's what you said. There's so much potential here. Goddamn, a Christopher Robin coming back to tax the shit and try and clear out the woodland acre is the funniest thing I can think of. And there's so much potential you can do.
I'm sure we kind
of... None of it.
They did that film, I can't remember who directed it, but it was written by Alex Ross Perry, like the Goodbye Christopher Robin, where Ewan McGregor is him. And I'm sure he works in some bureaucratic role. But yeah, apologies if I've ripped that off from something better. But yeah,
but I don't.
Anyway.
But that's. I'm sure he learns a fucking lesson in that. Don't have him. Have him a villain. You know, get him taxing and clearing out rent up. Right.
Okay, so having just ripped the film apart, I will shout it out for another nice shot by the lake, which again, DOP earning their salt. There's like a nice little shot of like mist on the lake. It just like it looks nice. There's like a moon silhouette. Like this film does have some nice looking stuff, but
there's some very nice stationary shots in this movie. I will give you that.
I'll say this film looks better than a Kevin Smith film. I will give it that.
Yeah, it does.
Rhys Frake Waterfield, you are a better director than Kevin Smith, at least in visual terms. No, I'm not gonna have that qualification. So, my next note is the redhead bikini girl is gone. So she is like out taking photos in a hot tub on her phone, which she's meant to have handed over, which again, I don't know, I guess that subplot was cut maybe of her being like, no, I can't be parted from this. So like the only reason to have that digital detox is so people can't phone when they get into trouble, and then we have a character immediately get into trouble and know that she has her phone in her hand because Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet sneak up behind her, and it's like, this is where I'm like, the film is, I'm like, okay, so you spent money on a choreographer, but you probably haven't like spent a lot of money on like production design for like the like meat and potato stuff. I was like, did you have like someone doing like stunt choreography or anything? Because they like knock her out, and like the way they lift her out of the hot tub is like, it's clearly actors being delicate of like, we're carrying someone and we don't want to hurt them. And I was like, you need to either perform this or shoot this in such a way that they don't seem like very gentle. It's like, if you just knock someone out and you're planning to kill them, you would be like manhandling them out. You wouldn't be like, softly. Listen.
Yeah, and I never really thought, I mean, I can see it. I mean, this is apparent throughout the whole fucking film that there's a lot of safety first,
which is good. Good thing that we haven't had a John Landis situation on this film.
But there's nobody there to there's no stunt. There's nobody experienced enough that other than just,
hey, by the way, this looks like dog shit. So can we get a dummy or something if you don't feel like
But they're not looking at the tape playback. They're just moving the fuck on. Who needs another take?
So they then run her over with a car because they knock her out and tie her up to then run her over, and I'm like, okay, like, are we in Eli Roth torture porn? Like, are they just sadists? Like, what's the like?
This is though, like, this one thing when I've checked out, you could splice in footage of Hostel 2 throughout this part, and I wouldn't fucking know. Put Green Inferno, put any Eli Roth in here, I wouldn't know. I would have no idea if this was a scene from another movie. Yeah. It's just maybe not got as much sleaze. I know you're saying it does.
It doesn't. That's why it's egregious, is because it's those two scenes where they're like, okay, we need to be sleazy now. And it's not shot like Paul Verhoeven. It's not like a connoisseur of sleaze. It's just like, okay.
It's that conservative sleaze. It's Eric Idle's level of sleaze.
Exactly. You know? It's business sleaze.
It's not a proper launch. Yes. It's naughty.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's carry on.
It's not like I can't feel John Derek breathing down the back of my neck.
Yeah.
As I'm watching. And so, like the whole running her, like she gets run over and her eye pops out, and I was like, okay, but it just seems like they reverse engineered from like, oh, that would be cool if a character got ran over and their eye popped out. So let's have Winnie and Piglet tie up someone delicately, lift them out of a hot tub, and then gently place them underneath a car before running them over. But alas, with Redhead Bikini Girl gone, we now get left with 4 dark-haired girls with no discernible character traits, which, like, there's, like, several shots of them, and, like, I heard about it in an acting talk. Was it Sam Mendes or someone was telling a story about, like, casting directors using, like, musical analogies of like oh, they're a woodwind and we need like a brass. Of it's like you just need people with like subtly different things so they contrast off each other. Or why you get the generic like, oh, we have the blonde and we have the brunette and we like, you can't have all of your characters be 4 dark haired and also they have no personality. Like it's just like, okay, you're completely interchangeable. It's like that scene in La La Land where Emma Stone goes into the audition room and just sees like 12 of the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly, I come from my ensemble westerns, don't I? So I don't want 7 magnificent same-looking guy. I don't want my wild bunch to all look the same. You need some diversity. I need to be able to tell somebody
this
apart.
This film is not woke.
And you can blend them out.
Yeah.
And I think this, like, Suspiria and stuff, the original. I'm thinking of my beloved films with a lot of similar looking people, like brunette Italians, but they'll have something. They'll wear something. Or
they'll wear something. They'll have a character trait. Like if you haven't distinguished them in terms of personality, then you just need to do it superficially. Of like, oh, this one wears like a propeller hat at all times for some reason.
That's my thing. I my beloved warriors.
Yeah.
My favorite character's Cowboy because he wears a hat.
Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't have anything else to him, but he wears a hat, so I like you.
That's why I'm planning on getting a facial tattoo. So when people are watching this socials for this podcast, they're like, why is one white guy speaking to himself? They're like, oh no, that guy has like a Jar Jar Binks facial tattoo. He's different to the other one. Okay, so zoom in towards the end. My next note is like Winnie-the-Pooh eats honey in one scene and he like slathers it all over his face, where I was getting Bolero flashbacks. I was just like, oh god, no, Bo,
that was in the trailer, I'm sure.
Was it?
The honey.
I never watched the trailer.
I'm 90%, or the teaser, or whatever I'd seen that. I definitely seen that before.
Yeah.
It was the closest it could have come to humor.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking humorless film, by the way. I don't think we've stressed that enough. But if you could have had a good line in here. If if you jump into that Evil Dead territory a little bit more.
Yeah.
You could have a great line here.
Yeah.
But nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did smile at least.
Yeah. Okay, so like they were doing a terrible job summarizing the plot because there isn't one. So the girls are just kind of like running around like headless chickens, and then they discover that Christopher Robin is tied up in a shack somewhere and he's alive. He's like strung up. He's been flayed and just like he's meant to be half dead. And my note is, I hate Christopher Robin so much. Like, he's not believable at all as a guy who's been tortured near death. Like we spoke about like Rambo in the torture scene, and like I take back all criticisms of Stallone because he was a million times better as someone who just endured the slightest bit of pain. Just like he fucking sucks.
He does.
It's like, how long have you been here? You haven't eaten. You haven't been, like, you're in tremendous amounts of pain. He's just like, oh, thank you for rescuing me, girls.
And he doesn't, like, this is where you don't even, again, I get angry because when he reappears, he's not even feral.
No.
I thought that's what, he'll reemerge and he'll be just like what his creations are.
He'll be like
the worst
Gizmo
some sort of evil god.
Gremlins 2, sometimes fight a war. You gotta become war.
And I was like, Christopher Robin's gonna be the Alpha and the Omega, and he's got his 2 henchmen. He's the final boss.
Yeah.
He created this.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's just from stumbling out of a fucking cabin. He can still drive a truck though, can't he? Like, fuck off.
And then there's the woman. Who the fuck was she again? There's like another woman who like has a gun, which again, how on earth are you getting a gun in the UK?
Again, because everyone's so interchangeable, I don't know who anyone is.
Yeah.
I assume it's the same person that just gets the gun, and it's a technical error. They've just spliced a scene together or something. And I have no idea.
Well, she screams, "You turned me into a monster," and I'm like, what? Like, you've got like maybe like you'll have like a mild scar maybe at most. I was like, Christopher Robin's been on holiday. He's probably been tortured for as long, if not longer, than you, and he's fine. I want Daniel Craig having had his balls smashed to pieces of just like, Christopher Robin should just be a fundamentally broken man. He should be a husk. But instead he's like, come on girls, it's time to go. And so
it's exactly my favorite of that is obviously Django, beloved Franco Nero, with his mangled fingers crawling through them, everything, one last bash. Nah, he's fine. Just shake off the fingers. It's all good.
And so stuff goes on. Like, so the woman fucks the shot, or she shoots them and doesn't kill them. I can't quite remember. And then the protagonist is running away, and she like has a torch which she's like shaking, like back foul beasts. And the sound design, I was like, the torch sounds like a flamethrower for some reason. Of like, it's like and I'm like torches don't, like, they're not actively crackling that much. Why? But anyway, I then like fist pumped. I screamed. I cheered. I fist pumped the air when our guy Kyle comes back, because it's the get out moment. I think they're like driving away, and then they bump into Kyle and his posse, and he's again still doing the accent. He's like, "What are you talking about? What happened to y'all?" And what makes it even better is like, we've got this guy who is like from the south for some reason, but his gang are like bikers. Oh, Logan. Kyle's called Logan. So Logan's posse is like, they're just like English, because when it's like, "Ooh, are you girls on drugs?" It's just like the oddest contrast of like, how did you guys become friends? But like, it's just so funny because they're kind of like, Logan's gang is kind of like the Hells Angels, but we've got like an English guy who just looks like Joey Ramone for some reason. Like, they're so weird, but they protect the protagonist from Winnie and Piglet, who turn up, and they're like shouting at him like, you're a freak, you're a weirdo. And I was like, okay, this film's lost me, because I was like, someone absolutely would have called him a nonce by now. But it happens when it was like, "You fucking nonce!" And then they all, like, the Logan's angels all lay into Pooh and Piglet. And like, this scene I fucking hate, because they smash him in the face with a crowbar, and he just like takes it, like, doesn't flinch.
No sells it.
Yeah, completely. Exactly. And he, like, Logan just kind of goes, "Oh, you're tough, I'll give you that." And I'm like, have you seen a film in your life? Like, you have seen this beat play out a million times of like, someone stabs Arnie, or like, guy shoots Superman and the bullet crumples off his eye. Like, we've seen this. It's a complete cliche. That's your like, oh shit moment of like, I'm facing some demonic entity who cannot be killed by mortal weapons. What the fuck am I gonna do? Not like, "Oh yeah, that's not bad. You're pretty tough. I'll give you that." It's just so fucking dumb. And like, the way he holds a crowbar as well also looks like, I don't know, it's just like he is holding like a rolling pin or something. It's just like,
yeah. Because he can't actually swing it though, Jericho. We've seen this. If you know, it's a real crowbar, right? So if you can't Alec Baldwin someone on set. So like, don't accidentally swing it. Yeah. Like, you've got to hold it in such a bizarre way. Like, yeah, it's shoddy.
Like, I'm sorry. This summary is really like unsatisfying, because like, there isn't any plot, so it's just me going through like what seems like really superficial directorial choices, but that's really the only interesting thing about this film.
Literally, it's one of those just blurbs, and it's a one joke 80-minute B movie from England. There's millions of these. There's absolutely millions. And in fact, like, I did a quick click there while you were chatting, and it's Richard D. Myers that plays Logan.
Okay.
He's the star of the show.
Yeah.
He is from New Orleans.
Okay, wow. So that's a genuine accent.
He was a caterer in LA.
Wow.
Yeah, he moved from LA to become an actor in London. So it's a reverse acting career choice. I'm leaving Hollywood. I'm going to make it big in London.
Yeah. Okay, credits.
He's also in many of these Hellcat, Vampire Virus, The Candy Witch. If you want to watch Blood and Honey, but without Winnie-the-Pooh, there's a billion of these a year.
Yeah.
They fall onto Shudder. There's nothing other than it's just The Candy Witch, but with Winnie-the-Pooh.
Yeah.
I expected so much more to talk about. My elevation of it's British to no, it's British and was pretty fucking quick. This wasn't what I expected for that, so I have nothing else to say other than my final one note at the end.
Okay, I don't really have much, which is just that there's some kind of like Mexican standoff point where like Pooh and Piglet fuck up Logan and the biker gang, and it comes down to the Christopher Robin and the protagonist. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to. Christopher Robin gives him an ultimatum. He's like, "Please, let her go. Take me instead. I'm the one you want." And Pooh, is this where Pooh speaks? Pooh says like,
"Yeah, this is my note. It's my only note. Yeah, my only note is you left."
Yeah.
And that's because and it's awful. I laughed. I was like, oh my fucking god. I didn't know if I expected the Disney voice to come out. I guess I did a little bit in my head.
Oh dear.
But yeah.
Oh bother.
Which would have been swung me right round, right at the end. Could have saved me. Could have had me right back in. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's it. You left. It's when he's pleading. I think it's when Winnie-the-Pooh's. I can't remember. He's got something over the gun, knife, something, truck, something, sledgehammer, any of the weapons that have been used. He's holding Logan up against the protagonist, threatening to kill her.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. They shouldn't have done it. But they did.
So he then like murders her, says no deal.
He just kills her. I can't remember. He does cut her throat. He doesn't shoot her.
Yeah.
Misremembering.
And
because Christopher just fucking runs the fuck away.
He's like, "Who? What have you done?" And he just has like way too intense a reaction. Whereas like he wasn't anything like this when his fiance got murdered. And some woman he's known for like 30 minutes, and he's just like the TikTok actor guy like Lewis Saunderson. Like my brother.
Oh no!
My brother.
I thought I did.
My brother. You might have seen him. He's like the gif, the video of the policeman like screaming. That guy.
Yes,
my brother introduced me to him. Yeah, he's like that guy who does the recreations of movie scenes on TikTok where all of them are him just like screaming over the top in hysterics. Like it's like, "I've abandoned my child." Ah! And Christopher Robin turns into him, and it's just like, your fiance died, you didn't bat an eyelid, but why are you doing this now? And then that's the end of the film. I was like, why are we getting such rousing music? Like the score sounds like it's building to something, and it's kind of like a heroic as it's Pooh just like stabbing the heroine to death.
It's just literally it ends on him. Yeah, Christopher flees.
Yeah.
But that's my God analogy. You know, it's the whole theory of God seeing his creations and ran away and abandoned us.
It's the Spy Kids 2 of, do you think God also lives in heaven out of fear of what he's created? So yeah, like that's kind of my, like you just said, my kind of closing comment on this film is like, apart from IP, this is nothing unique. Like there's nothing like good or bad. This film is just completely unremarkable apart from the fact that it's IP. And I was like, it's not even unique in that regard, in that I was like, this is basically just a fan film. Like, you get people who make things like that of like, oh, like, what if Batman fought, like, I don't know, Elmo? Like people make stuff like this. This is just like a YouTube level. I was like, this is just. It just seems like a real missed opportunity. Of like, there are a million of these made a year, but there's only going to be one Flash. Like, like that's just.
This is not. I mean, okay, you're asking, is this a Razzie worst picture? No, it's not to me. Yeah. It's not. No. It's eligible because it got a run. Yeah. I remember we did look that up. Because of the hype. Yeah. Because of its meme. Yeah. It got a Morbius second run. Yeah. But it shouldn't have. It shouldn't be eligible. Yeah. You are still dunking on a no budget indie YouTube film. Yeah. You're not. There's nothing. It's a win for him. It's a win for the director.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah.
Fucking. Yeah. Super jealous. I could have done this. You could have done this. We could have done 1,000 times better. We could have done 1,000 times worse. There's so much to do, but it's not. It's not, and I don't understand why we watched it. I don't see. The Flash. Yeah. I can't. Flash, Exorcist. There were such big names to knock it out here that were proper Razzie films as well. In terms of Hollywood fumbling and dropping the ball, which is what it should be.
Exactly. With what the Razzies aspire to be, with like that kind of like Hollywood thing, to just pick something so far outside the sphere, where I was like, it's just like Flash. Not that I'm saying Flash has to win, but I think it's just like a glaring example of a Razzie film in that like there's just so much that could go wrong.
It's such it's an easy formula for me for what makes a Razzie film now is the bigger the budget with the bigger the failure. So that's your Waterworlds, your Heaven's Gates, the ones that aim for the skies or just spend all the money, Battlefield Earth it, and fail miserably. Yeah. And why? Why they fail miserably?
It's got all the pedigree of like, it's like studio hubris as you're trying to promote a movie when everyone knows it's going to be like, it's a dead end of just, they're like, okay, our ideal situation is enough people come to see this that we break even, but not so many people come to see this that we then have to ask questions of, do we make a sequel? Do we incorporate Ezra Miller into the James Gunniverse?
I think
having to promote a film while the police are hunting your lead is
I know why like the Flash and Morbius couldn't win back to back. I know why they would be. Oh no, we can't.
Because Madam Web has willed it.
Oh no, we can't dunk on it. But Morbius getting re-released and failing again. That's the why it went. That's the only reason. That's the funniest. That's a failure. That's a raspberry. And exact same for the Flash. When you're delaying your film because your lead actor is like getting investigated and then you've got that damned if you do, damned if you don't. We have to release it because we've got Keaton. We can't erase it. So what do we do? It has to win. I think it has to win. Believer just being shit it's just shit. It's a shit film. It's nothing new.
Yeah. Believer's just like, we've seen that. It's kind of the Halloween thing. Believer's more interesting to speak about than this because like what Mr. Razzie said to us last week of asking like, it's like, what did they say was the question? It's not like how did you but why did you, or how could you. It's not how could you but why did you. And the Exorcist there are real questions for the Exorcist of like, why did you wheel Ellen Bernstein out for this? Who wants to see like why are we getting a Jason Reitman presents like, hey everyone, what if Linda Blair in fact became like, it's real like it's more like I have more questions about the Exorcist Believer than I do with this, which is like, this is just a kind of poorly made generic film. It's a feature Winnie-the-Pooh.
Independent filmmaker that made a film with his friends, that he jumped first on the IP, and that's it. Yeah. That's all it is. And that's good. Fair play to the boy as well. I have nothing bad. I mean, his end product is questionable, but the merits behind it, I'm all aboard this, man. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your Razzie.
Yeah.
Like, hope to get you on the podcast. Yeah, congrats. But yeah, it's not a Razzie film.
Yeah, no. It's like it's a success to win. Like, this is beyond like people like Darren Doan, who's like, oh yeah, it was cool to be nominated alongside Michael Bay. This is the first film where I'm like, oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, this is like Saving Christmas didn't need the Razzie. Like, Saving Christmas didn't get the boost from the Razzie. It was like already had enough on its plate with Reddit, but this is the first film where it's like, okay, well, welcome, you've been enshrined into cinema history because someone got really mad at this film.
Yeah, collectively as well. That's again learning how much of a vote it is it's so strange. It's such a echoey. I don't know.
So you wouldn't have made it to the end, but it does say Winnie-the-Pooh will return. I knew about this beforehand. So the movie's set to come out like at the end of this month, I think. Like it's already wrapped. And so Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which like come up with a better title. Be like Winnie-the-Pooh, like Blood and Honey with a Vengeance. I don't know. Come up with like there has to be like a better angle, and the notable thing here is Tigger is in this one because they couldn't have Tigger in the last one.
I am fucking 100% up for the sequel because I'm going to assume that's got a fucking budget behind it, at least $1 million it'll have, and if not 10 million or something stupid because some stupid Netflix will just give them money, it'll be a hit, we'll make it back or we won't, who cares. This is closer to my less cheap hillbilly mask fat people. You could actually do something with them. You could do something with the second one. He might use all of it, he might just piss it all away. I'm up for it either way.
See, my thing is, I'm like, we've seen like creativity is the issue, not resources a lot of the time. Like we've seen so many films that like diminish as they get more money because the limitations.
That's why you've got the chance though. That's why you have the chance to prove to me that it was just because again, if we just pissed about in the woods and made that IP thing and it became a huge hit, we would put some care into the sequel.
But the fact that it's out already, like it's been rushed out already, I don't know. I think I guess we haven't done our fixes, but my fix is the same as you, is like just kind of make it about something. Like your film can't be based off this like edgelord. Like the shock factor of Winnie the Pooh only gets you so far. It needs to be like
it's shit. It's utter shit. It's utter shit. I'm not defending it.
I know. I'm just.
It's utter fucking garbage, and he should be ashamed of it. I hate him for it because, and I'll tell them when he's on the podcast because I could have done it, and we could have done this. I wouldn't have wanted
bastard to. Poisoned the well.
But yeah, like it's annoying. It's infuriating that he is like worst picture award winner is so fucking annoying.
Exactly. Where like I don't know. Bitterness. Maybe we'll just maybe we don't go the IP route. Maybe we know now, having spoken to Mr. Razzie, that maybe we just go the Freddy Got Fingered route. Of like, we make just something so bad and so incompetent of every scene from moment to moment.
We make a masterpiece, you say. We make a pop culture shifting magnum opus.
It's simple. We make Citizen Kane. But yeah, so the sequel, so beyond Tigger being in it, trivia on IMDb, Nikolai Leon played Christopher Robin in the first movie but was recast to Scott Chambers in the sequel.
Course.
Yes! Get him the fuck out! We have that. And then Simon Callow is in it.
He's in it playing... Who's he again?
English actor. He's in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. He does like... You'll have seen him in tons of stuff. He's in The Witcher. He's one of those English character actors who's done like a lot of. He crops up in a lot of stuff without necessarily being like.
I can click his name on Wikipedia. That's all I need.
Yeah, you'll have seen him in like hundreds of things. Oh, he was in Rome. There you go.
Okay.
You'll have seen him in hundreds of things. Famous actor. And so he's in the sequel. So for all my joking, I am actually out of shape because we forgot to start with our usual thing of the budget. So on a budget of $100,000,
oh shit!
How much do you think this made?
Well, that's a lot. I thought half that is what I was going to say. I was going to half it again. I was going to say $25K, and then 25k marketing reshoots. Like, 100k is higher than I expected.
Yeah, this isn't like, it's not like completely, it's not completely independent. Like, it's not independent. It's not like Friends in the Woods. It's like professional filmmakers who make B movies kind of thing. Like, it's like it's got B movie studios behind it. So yeah.
They have a anyway, so 100,000 is more. So I'm gonna go 10 million.
Okay, 5 million, not bad. You were closer. Okay. I would have no idea how to gauge that. I would be like, 250,000, or I'd be like, 37 million. I think he did well.
Because it had a theatrical run, and it was going to at least get a couple of million, at least. Because there was fuck all. Because I remember seeing posters for it in Cineworld. And
really, wow.
Yeah, honest to God. And I was like, there's fuck all else on tonight. You know, it's like, just they slotted it in. You know the death slots.
Yeah.
So people would have went 100%. This would have made some money. Again, you wouldn't get the sequel.
Yeah, 10th of March 2023. It was out in the UK. So it premiered in Mexico on the 26th of January 23. I guess I was in LA when it was released. It was released theatrically on the US on the 15th of February, and in the UK on the 10th of March. So I guess I was in LA when it was released here, and I was here when it was released in the US. So I managed to kind of miss it. But I have some quotes for you from the Wikipedia page.
Oh.
So it says here that the director, Frank Waterfield, explained in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment that the first draft of the film was meant to be more close to the original source material. However, the Walt Disney Company still retained the exclusive rights to the depictions of the characters from their own franchise, so Waterfield had to scrap the original script and rewrote it to avoid any legal trouble. What does that mean? Because the original source material is the book. Mm-hmm. And so if it's more close to the book, yeah. And does the...
Again, no, that's... I know this from Never Say Never Again. You can use what's on the paper. What's on that exactly, you can use anything. If there's nothing that's up... If he ain't wearing the red shirt in the book, you're not getting the red shirt. That's exactly what was said. He's lying there. He's trying to stir up... he's doing what I said. He's trying to poke the bear.
Because I'm struggling of like what you could do, unless it's like the woman was wearing a red shirt and Winnie-the-Pooh was naked and he ripped the red shirt off her and put it on himself, going, I quite like this. I struggle to see what you would run into on the page. It would be like,
it's a lie.
Like it's closer to this, closer to the source material of like, I don't know what plots they have because I haven't read them since I was like a kid. He's just kind of milling around playing poo sticks, I guess. So I don't know how you can be close to...
Again, it has been. I thought they were very simple children's tales.
You are right. That strikes me as something that like a lie I would say to avoid being like, well, like the reason that my homework's late is I ran into legal trouble and just a lot of complicated ins and outs and what have you. So we'd love to explain, but can't. Trust me. They
do that. There's one of my beloved films, Kyoma. I'm going back to Franco Nero, but it works. Yeah. A film called Kyoma. And I love it. He used to say, we tried making Django again, and Liga Corbucci came in. And then, I read an interview with the director. We had no script, we just shot. And I was like, Nero, you lying bastard, trying to make it up and trying to cover your tracks. Like, there's nothing here. Don't try and connect it together.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like David Ayer or like Josh Trank or Max Landis, but someone who's like made something bad and been like, it's just like... a perfect cut of my movie is out there, and it just kills me to know that you'll never see it.
See, that's what I would. That's my. If they ask me if I did this fucking film, I would say, if done right, this could be my Winnie-the-Pooh.
Amazing. So Frank Waterfield did outfit Pooh with a red shirt, but was careful to avoid other elements from Disney's depictions that could pose a copyright issue, which we kind of discussed. Yeah. After an increased popularity of the film, ITN Studios gave the film an increased budget, leading several days of reshoots, and it was like a 10-day shoot, so several days of reshoots is like already almost like doubling your production. This will lead to the film being the most expensive film Waterfield ever directed and the most expensive film produced by ITN with a budget of under 100,000. The composer speaks about looking the film up on IMDb and finding the director Rhys Frake Waterfield on Instagram, where his story had a screenshot of a person's comment saying something to the effect of, "Your movie is ruining our childhoods." His reaction was, "That's what I'm trying to do, ruin everyone's childhood." I'm like, you need to be more deviant. Like, again, if you are an edgelord provocateur, then you need to, like, if me and you made it, we'd be getting the Daily Mail being like,
"We ain't winning a Razzie, that's for fucking sure."
Shock Jock podcast hosts make pedo extravaganzas. Winnie-the-Pooh is not that I'm saying that everyone has to be a pedophile in order to cause controversy, but like, there's just like, if you want to ruin people's childhoods, it needs to be significantly more depraved than What If Bear did murder.
Yeah, or do something so good or so different that it'll reshape how they think Winnie-the-Pooh. So you've ruined my childhood by changing how I... Like, you know, people think that, like, fucking Paddington. They think the movie... Like, oh my god, the shit I liked was shit. The movies are great. Like, that's what Paddington should be. You could do something.
You either need to make it just like edgelord, like, and this what this was going for was that kind of like edgelord,
it is going for
like,
the edgelord.
Are you just offended? Ha ha ha. You either go that route, which is the easier, or you could make this into some kind of like, you can ruin people's childhoods by making this like tragic, or by just looking at the original stories. Like, if you tug on the heartstrings, if you make this
100%.
about growing up and saying goodbye to childish things, if you like recontextualize it and shine, like, I was speaking to a friend about, like, he was speaking about like the end of Love Actually with Andrew Lincoln and the signs, and being like, yeah, it's a great movie, but in retrospect, that's really fucking weird. If you just tilt Winnie the Pooh and find something where people then see it in a different light, and you're like, oh yeah, you have ruined my childhood because I can now no longer... Or if you just do something like iconic, like if you have like an image, if you do like Reservoir Dogs with Winnie the Pooh chopping off someone's ear while dancing to Stealers Wheel, if you do something that will be like memeified or will stick in the consciousness, like, there's no iconic moment in this. There's no like...
There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's again, there's not even like... If it isn't other than the shock of Winnie the Pooh being a killer, there's not even a teaser. There's the one shot that I remember with the honey is it. That's it. That's your fucking. That's your iconic moment. Yeah.
That's your alien moment. So yeah, it has to be a failure on its terms there. So the marketing section's kind of interesting. After the film's announcement, Salon writer Kelly McClure wrote the film is a perfect example of the wrong that could come from a creative work slipping into public domain. She continued calling the film a horrific take on Winnie the Pooh, also stating, "You've got the makings of a dark and twisted cult classic." John Mendelsohn, writing for Collider, called the film images of nightmare fuel and the concept extremely bizarre, while noting, "The internet is freaking out." Rotem Rusak, writing for Nerdist, wrote, "Seeing the iconic bear reimagined as a nightmarish slasher monster speaks to a delightfully imaginative spirit that really inspires us." Are you kidding me? That's the most unimaginative, hackneyed thing of like, they can't think of anything more than
anything else to do with it.
Children's toy. Yeah. It's
Jesus.
And then Justin Carter of Gizmondo wrote, "The appeal of Blood and Honey will depend entirely on if you're willing to meet the movie halfway on its premise and aren't immediately turned off by the idea of children's characters being turned into murderers or having some dark, edgy backstory. The internet was filled with that sort of thing just a decade or so ago, and this very much feels like it's pulling from that same cloth." Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of the issue, is those creepypasta things were like paragraph stories or memes. They weren't like feature films. And the issue here is just like, it's like, oh, well, if you didn't enjoy this movie, it's probably because you were triggered by the idea of children's characters being turned into murderers. I was like, no, I wasn't triggered. I just don't think that's inherently interesting.
They also haven't watched the fucking film either. They've just seen the pit. You know, like, they haven't sat through all 83 minutes of this movie. So that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just Remember Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet? Here, they're killers. That's why people knew about it. It's like you said it best. It's a sketch from 2007. It's pretty fucking poor.
But I will give the final word here to Katrina Fader of ArtNet, who said, "You can't buy publicity like the kind they've had, and something tells me that this indie passion project will find its funding, bringing to life the director's unique ideas about murdering women in bikinis."
Okay, I like that.
So, this film, with its Razzie pedigree, so how this film did in the other categories. So it won Worst Picture, of course. That is why we are talking about it. It won Worst Director for Rhys Frake Waterfield. We can speak about the competition more in the second half. It's hard because I think he achieved everything he set out to do. I just would have liked to see him aim a little higher. So
I mean, the direction out of the actors is terrible.
True. Casting.
The direction of the choreographed movement is terrible.
Yeah. Okay,
the direction of being indoors, and because he also wrote it, and because it's his idea, and because
screenplay's a different thing.
No, I do, but he's an auteur. He's a B movie hack auteur, but he's heavily. It's all him. Yeah, definitely his baby, 100%. So he's got the burden of everything. Yeah, unfortunately.
And Mr. Frake Waterfield, come on down if you'd love to speak.
I would though. I would love to have a chat again. There's this polarity of well done, you deserve it, spend your money, enjoy your Razzie, well done, you did it. But also, fucking hell, I hate you. I wish it was. Wish I got that chance. I wish it was me.
Meanwhile, I'll be having that conversation with Christopher Robin to be like, I paid Lewis Saunderson so much for acting lessons. You should have seen the breakdown I would have had if my fiance was killed. And then also one worst screenplay, which we kind of discussed there. I think the screenplay is much worse than the direction, so I think that's well deserved. Although it's tight, it's not a mess in the way that
But again, that's why I'm tying it in. He's directing his direction is terrible at screenplay, so it's both his fault. Yeah. Like if it was a really good, tight, witty, original, something different, then okay, I can have a discussion, but all the sins are on his shoulders. Yeah, he deserves them both. I don't think it's a Razzie film, but now that it is, he does deserve them by that merits.
Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it. Then it won Worst Screen Couple, Pooh and Piglet as bloodthirsty slasher/killers. I guess we'll speak about that more in the second half, but they're not really they're a couple in that they're always together.
Yeah, they're on-screen combo. It's
they're not really.
It's just Bebop and Rocksteady, isn't it, really?
Exactly. They don't have any odd interactions. They're not the idea. Honestly, they're just winning it because someone's triggered. Because someone is oh God, I hope that Pooh and Piglet don't come into my room and kill me. It's just the idea of them being killers. He's not saying 100%. It's not Pooh and Piglet aren't the combo. It's my childhood and the act of homicide. That's the combo.
They're also not the worst combo in this movie. They're probably the best combo. At least they
shut the fuck up for most of the film.
They also their physicality does match. They both look like
they're
the
good.
same size.
Yeah, they're Michael Myers-esque. Physical.
You got two guys about the same size and the same build. That can't be easy with no budget in the middle of fucking Yorkshire. So fair play. But no, that's a terrible choice. Any of the brunette combo, any of the Christopher Robin and fiance, any combo other than Piglet and Pooh.
Therapist in her office. Worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel. It also won that. So I don't really know. Maybe the Razzies have just broken me.
Yeah.
How do you judge something like this?
I don't. I don't think this is it's a rip-off in a cynical sense of it's a cash grab, but that's probably the closest, because it isn't a remake. But yeah, it's a rip-off. I will allow it.
Yeah. So, just before we head off to part 2, I have something else here for you. In July 2022, Frank Waterfield expressed interest in creating a sequel and stated that he wants to ramp it up even more and go even crazier and go even more extreme. Which I would just be like, write characters for the second one. That would be my advice.
You could. Die harder, just go harder, do more. Yeah. This isn't a guy that thinks, again, I could be wrong, but I imagine he's got a pedigree of very similar films done before this, and he will only go on to do this for the rest of his life. This isn't someone like us that is like, ooh,
this isn't James Cameron being like, I made Piranha in order to...
Yeah, this is it. So I can adapt Revelation.
I made Piranha so I can make Piranha 2.
All I want to make is Revelation, so I have to do my Winnie-the-Pooh movie to fund it. Absolutely.
In November 2022, he announced that a sequel currently titled Winnie-the-Pooh 2 was in development, with him returning as director and writer on a budget 5 times larger than the previous installment.
Oh. That's still nothing though. That's still what, 500 grand? Like, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not a bit. That's not like, okay, ooh, that's worried me. I want 10 million budget.
Frank Waterfield announced that Pooh will use a chainsaw in this sequel. Can you imagine that? Winnie-the-Pooh using a chainsaw? I mean, he's used a hammer in this, but I can't imagine.
I want to ask, when he's on the episode, if he has seen The Evil Dead, or is he going to have an aneurysm when he watches it? Oh, shit!
Listen, we're going to have to cut the bit where Christopher Robin looks into camera and says groovy, or we're going to have to wait another 70 years for something to enter the public domain. Then, that September, Pooh and Piglet were confirmed to have new designs in teaser images, with the new characters, Owl and Tigger, also confirmed to appear.
Fuck yeah.
So, I saw that when I was looking for a background. The Pooh mask does look a lot better for the sequel.
Oh, because the mask, I don't think I've really got across how bad it looks and how cheap and awful. Putting any of the budget into some sort of movement into the mask and some sort of anything, any sort of practical effects would be such an improvement. A bit of fur, a bit more, make more like a bear.
Yeah, just because they're not characters, which can work, but it's just like the types of thing where like they just pose a fundamental issue for the movie of, like it said, like they're hybrids, half humans, half animals, but you don't know, like they don't look good enough that these could just be creeps in masks. Like, this doesn't have to be explained by, like, they are actual animals. And you can make it that by dubs. You cut out the start and just overdub a few bits, ADR some dialogue, done. Yeah. It's just creeps and masks. Yeah. And wait to see me and Kyle's parody of Winnie-the-Pooh Blood and Honey, entitled Winnie-the-Pooh Creeps and Masks, coming. Imagine if we got sued by this film, because we just remake it shot for shot. You playing Logan.
That's it. It's our Psycho remake, isn't it? So no one will ever do this again.
Vince Vaughn just jerking off in the middle of our film for some reason. Okay, so I know I've said a million times moving on, but alongside the announcement of a sequel, 2 other horror films were announced: Bambi, The Reckoning, and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. In February 2023, Frank Waterfield announced that the various projects take place in the same shared continuity franchise, with Jagged Edge Productions intends to have the characters feature in crossover events.
Good.
And then in January 2024, it was revealed that Adventures of Pinocchio would also be adapted into a horror film that's set within the same continuity, titled Pinocchio Unstrung. Kill me now.
He is putting all his fucking chips in this because he'll think it's worked, and then the second one's going to make nothing, and his whole universe is going to be like the Monsters cinematic,
the dark universe.
He's going to be in debt.
The dark universe isn't crumble, Kyle. It's coming. It told me. It's coming out next year. Johnny Depp's cleared his schedule to be the Invisible Man.
The stupidest thing he could have done is do this, and rather than just blaze it. If you're not going to blaze a glory,
the Book of Genesis.
If you're not going to go nuts and you're not going to put it into something else or make the craziest sequel that will make you unhireable, then this is the worst, drabbest laziest way to go out.
It's just like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Like, for some people, it's like a business. Like, show business is a business, and it's not some great act of creative expression. But I'm like, do you really just want to be plundering IP? Is that what you want to be doing? Like, using other people's creations and be like, oh, what if they killed? I'm like, just go all out and make Game Master Anthony's Birthday the movie. Of just like, oh, every character from every IP wanders in, and they're all deranged killers.
100%, man.
It's like the damage that the MCU has done.
It's like
to cinema. It's the public domain cinematic universe. Honestly, like fucking.
It's how I feel about cover bands. You know,
yeah,
when it's
100%.
The note for note, and I'm like, but I could literally listen to this while I'm watching them it note for note. But I do like cover bands where they play other music as if it was by that band, you know.
Oh yeah, like the guy who does like 50 Cent in the style of Led Zeppelin and all that sort of weird like.
There was a great one I'd seen a while back where it was a mashup of all the post Beatles. So it's what if George Harrison sang Band on the Run.
Yeah.
Let's try and imagine. And I was like, okay, I'm up for that. And Paul McCartney doing All Things Must Pass. How would he do it? Like, and that always stuck. I've seen another one as well where it's Pink Floyd. If they just played other songs and this is what they would sound like, and cool. But if it's note for note, fuck off. And
because
that's what makes me think of doing the same thing. You're just copying it and pasting it, like factory producing it. And also probably think you have that creative artistic merit that I am doing something, I am doing a twist on your beloved characters when you're not. You're not doing a fucking
You're
thing.
a step up above AI. Like you're just like it's just the most creatively bankrupt thing that is built on other people's hard work. Yeah. And like I'm all for subversion, I'm all for like twisting things and turning things on their head, but this isn't like what if they were killers, just isn't like
it's not enough.
There needs to be more in the stew before you can get away with that.
And he's gonna find that out when he does his Neverland one, because Hook exists. That my twist on the classic already exists. Yeah. And it's so thought out and creative and different, and
Alan Moore's beat you to it. Pedo Hook has been done by Alan Moore.
Pedo Hook's been done. But
and perhaps Jude Law in David Lowery's Peter Pan.
But I would say that Spielberg changed my opinion on Peter Pan. He changed how I looked at it. I think Hook like completely just changed how I pictured the story, the world, everything for better. It was such a creative twist. It wasn't just what if Peter Pan was a killer and he just killed lost boys.
I was always like, before I was always like, oh, to live would be an awfully great adventure. I was like, that's just bullshit. Disregard that, Peter. Just stay in Neverland and be a boy forever. And then in Hook, I'm like, oh no, like wow, like that's an actual, like I see how he's right. To live would be an awfully great adventure.
And God, that's a moral for actually growing up when you are watching that film at that right age.
Imagine that, Kyle.
Fucking hell,
growing up. Woo! Wouldn't that be a dream one day? So that's all we've got for.
I have nothing else.
Part one.
On that note.
And so join us in part 2 when we will be discussing all of the other winners and nominees. So looking forward to it. I've missed a part 2.
I am, and I'm in the dark here, so I'm quite excited.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the podcast, in which we discuss all of the other winners and nominees. So before we get into things, we heard from our friend in Australia, Tyler Van, who said on Winnie-the-Pooh, not surprising that it won. I know it only had a tiny budget, but it was still rubbish, IMO, and was the worst movie of last year. Excited to hear your thoughts. And so, like, that's in line with what we said, like, tiny budget, but still you could do more with it. That doesn't really, its flaws aren't flaws of budget. I'm not like, oh, that looked a bit ropey. It's just like, a second take would have solved this. Or, like, and yeah, like, it's the most disappointing in terms of it would be the easiest to fix. Like, us saying, like, we could do this. If you parachute me into The Flash, I would be like, I have no idea where to even begin.
I am, yeah, no.
I would be like, okay, we're probably going to ditch Ezra Miller, and I'm going to play the Flash. Writer, director, the Flash, directing scenes in Flash costume. And then I become Jake Lloyd and just get hounded out of show business. But yeah, this is definitely the most disappointing, both from the Razzies for recognizing it and just like you could have, and it's like, I don't know, they start making it. I suppose you're right. The sequel will be the true test, because you like, when they started making this, they probably didn't envision what it would become. They didn't realize like two jackasses would be dissecting every aspect of the production design on some podcast, being like, yeah, I noticed that you didn't have enough books on your table. Have you even read the DSM-4 or 5, whatever one it is now? Yeah, so interesting. But thank you very much, Tyler, for your contribution.
Thank you.
Always welcome. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Hope you're doing well since the podcast has gone on hiatus. So, now to get into things. The Juice. Worst Picture. Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
We spoke about this. You can't know. You don't. Right? No. You know what? Like, could be. I'm gonna refrain until I hear the rest of them. But no, and I didn't see it. But still, no.
Yeah. So I watched it after between our last episode and this one. It's interesting. Like it's like a disaster. What's most interesting is that Zach Levi's kind of like, there's just an existential problem where, like, in the first Shazam, they were kind of doing like, oh, kid in grown-up's body. And I've heard people say that, like, Shazam, that isn't what Shazam is because his personality changes. I've heard comic book nerds say that. But what is interesting here is that the kid's obviously grown up. And the plot of the movie is about the kid leaving the foster care system because he's like 17, about to turn 18. And Zach Levi plays him like he's like 7 years old. Yeah. It's just like
I mean, I didn't imagine the movie was going to be good, and I just thought it'd be. I didn't think it'd be interesting either. I just thought it'd be bland.
It's not. It's just crap.
5 out of 10, bland, forgettable shit. But that is an interesting thing, because if Kid Shazam gets old, does he still turn into Zach Levi? Like, if he's in his 80s, does he?
Yeah, if he's older than Zach Levi.
Yeah, what happens? Good
point.
But the Shazam, I don't know, comic book nerds can tear me apart. I don't think the Shazam mythology should be investigated that deep. I think it's quite I thought the first movie was a fine one-note movie.
Don't say this. I'm trying to get us a gig directing a Shazam movie when it becomes public domain. Old man Shazam, Clint Eastwood was like, hey, you kids, you best get off my lawn, otherwise I'm going to turn into Zach Levi and kick your ass. I'd also maybe say some racial slurs. Then we have Meg to the Trench. Oh, so did you see?
I did not.
No.
Seen Meg 1? Didn't. Yeah. Wheatley is the only reason I have any knowledge of Meg 2. Yeah. Just in that career path is beautiful. But yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I assume you have though.
Yep. Saw it in the cinema, baby.
Yeah.
It's like, it's forgettable. It's like a Meg sequel. Like it's just a continuation of the Meg, where like it's not good, but nor is there anything remarkable to say about it. I'm glad we didn't have to watch it because it would just be boring.
Yeah.
There's no, like, I don't know. It's a weird one where it's made by like an American Chinese conglomerate, I think, and I just do not understand what they gain from Ben Wheatley directing it. Because I'm like, there's nothing discernible here. There's no fingerprints that Ben Wheatley did direct it, and it's not like he's a name. Like, Field of England stands aren't going to be a significant enough demographic to add to the box office. So, just weird. But yeah, from his point of view, I imagine he got paid a hefty chunk of change in order to do it.
He can go make as many films in Fields as he wants from now on.
A field in Wales, perhaps. Then we have Expendables. So you haven't seen it.
I have not seen this. It's going to be a clean sweep if I have not seen this.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this. I know about it. But you've seen it, so how was it?
It's crap. Like, can I spoil it for you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm tapped out.
Stallone gets killed off in the first 10 minutes.
That's all I know, and that's why I've not seen it.
But
that's why
he's not actually killed. Yeah.
That's why I was convinced he was gonna win worst actor, and of course he's gonna come back because Expendables is gonna need him.
Yeah, his bank account is gonna need a few extra zeros. So it's bad. It's the worst of the franchise. It almost looks like it was shot on the volume at some points, where like they're on like a cruise ship. Like the finale takes place on a cruise ship, and Andy Garcia is the villain. It looks fake in a way where I've like, we're just so far removed from what these 80s action movies are meant to be. They're meant to be muscle bound. They're meant to be Arnie saying one-liners and just like practical effects, squibs, explosions. Not green screen.
No.
Like just No. So moving on, we have The Exorcist Believer. Have you seen that? Kyle? I don't know if you've seen that film.
I don't need to say anything further on The Exorcist Believer.
Yeah, it's not good. We've kind of trashed it here. Yeah. It's just like it's not painfully bad. It's just like, why? It's just like it's really puzzling. I'm really confused. And maybe because I don't have the attachment to the franchise, but
well, that's why I won't see it though. Because painfully bad exists, and I love it.
Yeah.
Give me painfully bad. Give me Exorcist 2, The Heretic any day of the fucking week. But I don't want to see recycled, regurgitated mediocrity.
Lega sequel
to one insane franchise it is when you include the first 5. It's just I just don't know, and it's in the hands of someone. No.
They've added a stair lift to the iconic steps.
It's an escalators now, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is that like at least it's bombed so badly that it appears to have killed the trilogy.
Yeah.
Because like just not everything needs to be a trilogy. Just try it out. Like not every nostalgia thing. Like people can have self-contained adventures.
Yeah.
Sometimes a demon's just a demon.
Sometimes it is like The Exorcist, you know. Fucking hell.
So moving on to worst director. So Ben Wheatley, Meg 2, The Trench. We kind of discussed him to death.
Right.
Scott Woe, Expendables. It's like, it's not terribly bad. I just suspect, like, it just seems like a little cheaper, and I suspect that like a lot of his budget was getting hoovered up by salaries, and he was just brought in to be like a safe pair of hands because Stallone wanted to go on holiday. Peyton Reed, Ant-Man, and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yay, it's my time to shine.
Well deserved, yeah.
Finally, I'm here. Yeah, like, holy shit. This is a disgusting film. Like, I know I said it in my predictions, but this is a hideous film. 99% of it's a green screen. It's all the movement, just... we're saying I can't do The Flash. I couldn't do The Flash. I don't know how to do a big $3 billion budget movie. But people do know what they're doing, and you're in the big machine and factory, and you're making a sequel to a decent film. Well, the first one anyway.
You big fan of? Okay, I was about to
the first one. I didn't see this. I thought this was the second one for a second. Didn't see the second one. But like, there's no excuse to have something so fucking hideous. And if you can't get any performance out of anybody who are very good actors, then there's a big fucking problem. He's lucky here because he could have won this.
Yeah. The best thing I can say about it, like just looking and trying to single something out for praise, the best thing I could say about it is probably the performance of Jonathan Majors, who I'm just Googling right now. Oh my God. No, and it's like, again, Jonathan Majors is kind of like fighting against the character on the page, of it's just because he's naturally like
his backstory, origin,
gifted
stuff is quite fun. Like his motivation. I know this was like the start of how they were going to introduce their new big bad is Ant-Man 3. But it's okay. He's fine. It doesn't fit though.
I like watching him just because he's like charismatic and has like an edge and is kind of like dangerous. If you're like, what's going on with it? Like, he's compelling to watch, but that's in spite of everything as opposed to
but
because of it.
he's surrounded by such stupidity and
exactly.
such,
It makes no sense.
You can't. It's just
the
like
movie's actively undercutting him at every opportunity. Of like, Jonathan Majors is a little too threatening. Why don't we have him be eaten by ants at the end, maybe? Or why don't we have a big floating like Corey Stoll head scream "I'm not a dick" and then catapult himself? That has to be, I think, the worst moment in the MCU. I think that's just like, okay, there. Shut up shop, Feige. That's it. You had a good run, but that's it.
Oh.
So Peyton Reed, well deserved here. Then we have David Gordon Green, the Exorcist believer. Do you want to say anything?
Nothing else to say. He's still not a winner, though. He's still a loser.
Comments
He's still
about
not
what
eligible.
David Gordon Green's mother might be doing at this precise moment and where? It's Mother's Day. I shouldn't be saying that.
All I will say is...
We love you, Mrs. Gordon Green.
You couldn't win a Razzie. You couldn't make a good Exorcist film. You're not eligible for the podcast. Good luck rebooting whatever.
Someone's beat him to the Omen, so
he's beaten to everything. He's just got to wait another 5 years until they reboot Halloween again.
What if he reboots Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey?
But believer.
Again, Clint Eastwood is Christopher Robin, like, I went down that 100-acre wood a couple of years ago and my fiance got killed by a bear I suspect was Mexican. So, moving on to worst actor. Chris Evans, Meg to the Trench as Jonas Taylor.
Chris Evans? I don't know who's in that.
Sorry, oops. No, Jason Statham. It's been a tough weekend.
See my comments when he got nominated for the Meg one. I assume they apply again.
Yeah. To be honest, I think he's probably better in the Meg than he is in Expendables.
Yeah. He's carrying more of it.
Yeah. Chris Evans ghosted as Cole Turner, and so I watched that, so I have some takes. Ghosted is another one that just makes me fucking despair about the future of cinema. Because, did you ever see Free Guy, the Ryan Reynolds film?
No,
it doesn't seem like something you put yourself in.
No.
So, Free Guy has some tendencies which are shared by Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey, of just expecting people to cheer for IP. In, at the end, Ryan Reynolds' character runs around with a lightsaber, and then he gets a Captain America shield, just holds up to camera, and they cut to Chris Evans be like, "Whoa, what the fuck? That's so cool!" Or I'm like, even non-MCU films are now having MCU glup shitto moments.
Yeah.
So, Ghosted, Chris Evans is some loser who ends up dating Ana de Armas. She has a meet cute with Ana de Armas, and it turns out she's a spy. She's a super spy, and he gets swept up. And it has MCU cameos, Anthony Mackie, the Falcon's in it. Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, they're in it in the most winky hey guys. And I'm just oh, for fuck's sake.
Weird.
And yeah, Chris Evans he's not atrocious, but he's bad. And I imagine he must just be looking at Robert Downey Jr. and Oppenheimer and being I need to fire my agent. But then Robert Downey Jr. also did Doolittle, so that's
exactly.
Yeah, that's worse than Ghosted. At least Chris Evans isn't doing a Welsh accent. But Ghosted, real weird movie. I would have put it up for film, actually. It's that bad.
Yeah. They didn't watch it though, so we're safe.
By they, you're saying, well, they watched it. Mr. Razzie just didn't watch it.
So he didn't watch anything.
Clearly can't be an Ana de Armas simp, otherwise he would have been there opening day. Vin Diesel, Fast X as Dominic Toretto. Have you seen that one?
I haven't. No, I've tapped out.
I haven't seen any of them, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he's not going to be doing anything different than he hasn't done for the past 9 fucking films. Or 8, sorry, because he's not in Tokyo Drift. Oh wait, no, he is as a cameo, I think. Anyway. Like Christopher Nolan, I did enjoy the Fast and Furious films. But I tapped out when The Rock tapped out. And this is just here because it's Vin Diesel. It's a big dumb man. If he was in Expendables 4, he'd be getting double billed.
Yeah.
But they're almost like parody of themselves at this point, and when Vin Diesel still takes them with such sincerity and conviction, I love it. I think that's great. I wish that's more 80s action hero to me, when you are still believing in it despite the ridiculousness.
Commitment to the bit.
Yeah. 100%. So not for me anymore, but fair play.
Russell Crowe, the Pope's exorcist, as Father Gabriel Amorth.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. When we spoke about it beforehand, you told me something that made me forget about it and nearly jump out of my seat and want to go watch it. So it's on my list to watch. I'm excited to see it. I think I'm going to love this film, and I think I'm going to love Russell Crowe in it as well.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's like a genre-aware, cheesy kind of like.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's like a B-movie, like self-aware performance.
Cannot wait.
I think he's definitely bad in things like Gladiator. Like,
oh yeah,
there was a while where I thought he was just the most boring actor in the world. I just thought he was really uninteresting. But I think it's maybe like Nice Guys has recontextualized them, where I'm like, oh, you know what? No, he is kind of.
I think it's. I've always kind of liked him when he's not been directed by Ridley.
Yeah.
Because I hate Robin Hood. I don't like him in Gladiator. So yeah, when he's got that serious fucking leading man, epic. No, hate you. But when you got a bit of a goof in you and you're a bit silly, I'm all aboard.
I don't like him in A Beautiful Mind either. I don't like him in probably all of his biggest roles, but like when he's a bit more schlubby.
See, I do like Master and Commander.
Action hero. Oh, true. But I don't know if I like him in. Yeah.
No, I do like him in Master and Commander. So yeah, I'm conflicted.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
But then I hate him in Les Mis and Noah and everything else. So
I like him in Les Mis. I kind of like him in Noah. Yeah. I don't know. More reflection required to come to my views on Russell Crowe, but he's definitely innocent for that. And then the winner goes to our old friend Jon Voight in Mercy as Patrick Quinn.
So I have nothing. You do though.
I've watched it. And
fuck.
This is basically category fraud, because would you say that Hans Gruber is the lead of Die Hard?
No, he's not.
Then Jon Voight is not the lead of Mercy because he's playing Hans Gruber.
Oh, okay.
So Mercy is a Die Hard riff. And calling it a riff might be overly generous, because we've got loads of Die Hard rip-offs. Like you've said on this podcast many a time, Die Hard on a boat. Or like Die Hard in a Plane.
Great
there was the school shooter Ben Shapiro Die Hard in a school. But this is the most egregious because it just lifts beats plot for plot from Die Hard. Like there's essentially almost like the bit where like Jon Voight. So it's Lady John McClane, I guess, is the twist. It's a woman who's doing the Die Hard, and Hans Gruber is also Irish, and so there's almost a bit where they like recognize each other, or just like the twists of like the henchmen being killed off. She's almost like ho ho ho, now I have a machine gun.
I'm gonna say having an Irish villain Die Hard ripoff and not calling them MacGruber is the biggest fucking crime I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the funny thing is that I'm like, so obviously we had the conservative Die Hard, which was the school shooter one, which is like, here's why guns in schools is a good thing, actually. But I was like, this is actually closer to being a conservative film, because I was like, you've got Jon Voight, and he's also doing an Irish accent, and he'll just randomly start like reciting poetry to himself, where he'll always be saying like, oh Danny boy, the pipes, and I was like, you've got an American guy, like, and because his accent's dodgy, I just decided to believe, I was like, he's not actually Irish, he's an American guy who's senile and thinks he's Irish. I was like, Jon Voight's basically Joe Biden. He's like, come on John, you're gonna give me the codes to get into the Nocturnal Plaza, Jack, or I'm gonna blow this place to high hell, man. Yippee-ki-yay, cowboy, motherfucker. Let me tell you, Corn Pop, he's a bad dude, Mr. McClane. And so, like, Jon Voight's just really bad. And, like, there's a scene where he beats the shit out of, like, what's his name? I don't want to say Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. you know the guy who's in Bend It Like Beckham. What's he called? Jonathan Rhys-Davies? Is that?
Yeah,
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. I get confused with Gimli. I get confused with Salah and Coach from Bend It Like Beckham. So he beats the shit out of Jonathan Rhys-Meyers at one point, who, like, again, authentic Irish actor acting opposite against, like, the Lucky Charms leprechaun. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Papa, I'm sorry. I'm just sort of cowering. And I was like, John Voight is like, it's like De Niro in The Irishman when he like hobbles out of the store. It's like, John Voight can hardly walk. He's not beating the shit out of like guys in their 40s.
I was amazed he would stand in this movie. Yeah. We get John Voight. We get Malcolm McDowell in our movie. He ain't standing. We ain't paying him to stand. He's behind a desk for all 5 minutes of his screen time.
Yeah. So John Voight, probably well deserved, I guess, but it's like Ezra Miller would have been a more worthy winner because John Voight is bad, but John Voight's delivered this performance. Like, this is all he does now. Midnight Cowboy was a long time ago. He just
Ezra Miller is actually robbed, and it's relevant. It's to the time. It's a movie people have seen. It will actually I'm sure Voight's the worst, but I still think it's the wrong call.
Yeah, exactly. If this performance had come out like in the 70s, then it's a little bit more notable. But now it's just like, he's been washed for decades. After, if you didn't give it to him for Baby Geniuses, is this really worse? Okay, so moving on. Worst actress: Helen Mirren, Shazam, Fury of the Gods as Hespera.
Oh yeah, lead actress of Shazam 2, Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Fucking. Oh fuck! That means they didn't watch Fast and the Furious 10 because Helen Mirren would have been double nominated for it. So they are just picking on Vin Diesel. Yeah, no, I have no comment. She's still not a winner. She'll never win for Caligula. She'll never win for this. Just nothing but losses.
Going in, I thought it would be something that was just like a little bit egregious of like, why is Helen Mirren in Shazam? I didn't think she would actually be that bad, but oh boy, no, she's really bad. Like, her and Lucy Liu play like gods. They are the gods who are furious, and like, they just have no chemistry. They each seem like they're acting in different movies, and they don't really know what they're looking at or where. It's just like very clear that they're like they're not good at dealing with all the special effects around them. So this is well deserved, much as I hate to say it. Then we have Jennifer Lopez, the mother, as the mother.
Oh, this is fuck. Could be wrong. You might need to click on it for a minute. But this is a Netflix film because I started watching this.
You started watching this? Wow.
This is her doing John Wick.
Yeah, kinda. It's more Taken.
Kinda.
Yeah, she's kind of John Wick.
It's more Taken.
It's
when
not
they
like
go to Spain.
Yeah,
she goes to Spain. Yeah. So I watched. I did not finish it.
Well,
I was curious. So. Okay. That's what all I remember. I was like, it's like, it's fucking Taken. That's like going to Lanzarote or whatever the fuck they go. I don't have much to say other than I didn't finish it. I thought it was terrible. So take it away.
Yeah, so I forgot to say that Mercy was filmed in Vancouver, so I was recognizing that, whilst again thinking like, if I was still in Vancouver, I probably could have been in Mercy. They'd have been like, yeah, he's close enough to Irish. He can play one of John Voight's bastard sons.
Yeah.
He can play Hans Snow, the bastard child. So the mother was also shot in Vancouver because I recognized it, and they filmed in like a parking lot that I think maybe I've also filmed in. Anyway, I was like, oh, you know what? Michael Fassbender had the killer. Jennifer Lopez has the mother.
Because it's not they don't go to actual Spain. It's Puerto Rico. Is it Cuba? It's Cuba, isn't it? Costa Rica, Cuba.
No, I think they go to actual in the movie.
They filmed
in Spain. I just don't know.
Yeah, because I had seen. I can't remember if it's Lanzarote or Tenerife, Gran Canaria. It's definitely Canaries Island because I've been there. I've been on the mother's set. But yeah, it's Dublin is. In fact, it's like watching the unbearable weight of massive talent and just, I've been there. I've been on that road. I've been on holiday too, Nicolas Cage. Very similar kind of vibes. But yeah, very low budget, cheap, nasty, Netflix, straight to Netflix shit.
Yeah, and she is bad.
Comment.
She has the line, she's like, I may be a killer, but I'm also a mother. She's kind of miscast, and like the only other thing I want to say about it is just like clearly someone had just watched a load of Liam Neeson movies, because it's like Taken, but it's also The Grey, the ones where he fights wolves.
I like that. I like The Grey.
Yeah, The Grey is decent. Yeah,
it's probably my favorite.
There's like a Hemingway type quality to The Grey.
Yeah,
but no, the mother sucks, and she's not good in it. In a way that I would kind of blame on miscasting, but she's just not believable as the character. Then we have Salma Hayek, Magic Mike's Last Dance, as Maxandra Mendoza. So, Magic Mike's Last Dance is good. I like Magic Mike's Last Dance. I think it's like... So, they have like a Magic Mike stage show in London, and the plot of Magic Mike's Last Dance is Salma Hayek is like married to this stuffy British theatre guy, and she's separating from him, I think, and so to get back at him, she gives Magic Mike a load of money to bring his male review show to London's West End. And it's really interesting, the ideas of like class and what is art and performance, of like loads of people get like really like their feathers ruffled by the idea of guys like shaking what their mothers gave them on West End stages. And like, I think it's like, I like it. I think it's a good little cap to like the series. Like, it's a different energy, and it sucks that they get rid of guys who have charisma like Matthew McConaughey and like Donald Glover, and then replace them with like non-entities. But like,
did Soderbergh still do the third one?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. I think he came.
Because I enjoyed the first one.
But
I didn't see the second one because I don't think Soderbergh did that.
Soderbergh didn't do the second one, but I actually liked it. I think I similar to you, I steered clear of the second one because of the lack of Soderbergh. But then I watched it before this one came out, and I was like, oh, it's actually really good. Yeah. And Salma Hayek, I don't know what you're on. Like, if you've spared her for like, I don't know, House of Gucci or something, like, I don't think she's she's fine.
Yep.
And then we have Ana de Armas in Ghosted, who is
that
like
time again.
Yeah. Huge step back for her. She is awful, and Ghosted sucks. They like I guess we'll have another chance to speak about this film for another award, but like, it's like a rom-com which is neither rom nor com, and also the action sucks. Like, it's just it's not good. And then the winner, Megan Fox, Johnny and Clyde as Alana Hart.
Oh, she's back. She's back in the Razzie, so isn't she?
Yeah.
I didn't see Johnny and Clyde. I didn't hear about it until the nominations. That's the only reason I ever heard about this film.
Yeah, I watched it, and it went in one ear and out the other. Like, memories of Johnny and Clyde were vaporized almost instantly. It's bad, but yet again, she is not the lead. Like, it's like, and it's something where it's like, we clearly didn't have the budget, so we're going to try and maximize our Megan Fox time. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, it's really bad, and it was difficult to watch, but not like, So I would downgrade her category fraud, and I would maybe give it to Anna, actually, to be honest.
Sure.
So moving on to worst supporting actor, we have Franco Nero, the Pope's exorcist, as the Pope.
Never.
Yeah.
Yep. My boy.
Same.
You'll always be my boy.
Watching it, I was just like, is that? That is
Django.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't. Like, never in a million years did it occur to me that anything to do with the film, and this was the peak of us doing the podcast, so I was just eating, drinking, sleeping, breathing the Razzies, and I never thought about like, what would he be? it's inconceivable, really.
Yeah, it's never thought. Not in 2024. You know, the run in the 80s. I'm sure there's stuff that Die Hard 2. You could have easily got on, and it would have broke my heart, and I would have been sad. They could have dunked on John Wick 2 if they were going for Keanu or something. He could have popped up, but he never did. He never will. He's fucking 90 or something now. But no, here he is, finally. But absolutely fucking not. I love him. No way in hell.
Then we have Bill Murray, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania as Lord Krylar.
Thoroughly covered before. I didn't know his name, but we thoroughly covered this. I don't think he did
either.
He's everything Michael Douglas wishes he was in the movie, and unless Michael's here winning, then it's still bad though. It's still lazy. It's still a Pyjama Cameo. So.
Pyjama Cameo. Use that as a phrase. Pyjama Cameo. That needs to become a phrase. You're gonna be like the guy the woman who coined Manic Pixie Dream Girl. It's gonna be attributed. Pyjama Cameo was first originated by Kyle Chemansky on Watching Worse Films. Notable Pyjama Cameo.
You can think of them already, though.
No, exactly. I know. I'm like, Harrison Ford's interesting. Where I'm like, Blade Runner. He is like actually doing a Pyjama Cameo for Blade Runner 2049, but he's good, which defies it.
It's fantastic.
It's like, you can either have me in costume and not acting, or I wear my pajamas and I'm gonna knock the hell out of this.
Unless it's his Force Ghost in whatever the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
I ain't even shaving for this one, baby.
Yeah, that's the illustration of JJ chose to have him in costume rather than giving a performance.
Yeah,
and that's why Denis is the master. Yeah, we spoke about it on our preview episode. Bill Murray is crap because everyone in Ant-Man is crap. But Bill Murray is like such a pop cultural figure that he can kind of coast by on like, hey everyone, I'm Bill Murray. I think I'm better than this movie because everyone's better than this movie. It's Ant-Man 3. You're better than this movie, viewer.
Yeah, and although it is bad, it's very brief. It is a cameo, and it does lighten. It is Bill Murray's here for it's respite for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm in safe hands. Bill Murray's taking a nap whilst being... Here's a man delivering lines whilst being fast asleep. Yeah. And then Mel Gibson, confidential informant, as Kevin Hickey. So this is the other Vancouver film. Mercy, The Mother, and Confidential Informant was the triple bill.
Okay.
He's winning this, or he's nominated for being an anti-Semite because he's not half bad in Confidential Informant.
Fair.
It's a hideous film, lots of like canted angles and like piss color grading, and most of Mel Gibson's scenes he's got like a fan spraying directly into his face, like a room fan just like right next to his face. I don't know if he requested that as some sort of weird Marlon Brando show of power, or if they were just like, oh, this is like film noir, it'll give him like interesting lights on his face, because it was so distracting. But yeah, he's not half bad.
It's probably like the easiest answer is the set lights were too hot on him, and he was like, get a fucking fan.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
or a
I want to be in my pajamas right now. You want me to wear clothes? You best make this a comfortable temperature. Okay, and then we have Michael Douglas, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania as Hank Pym.
Robbed of a win, absolutely. This is so bad. It's unbelievable. It's almost deliberate at times, like sabotage, but not. He's not. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. So he's been robbed here.
Yeah, and then the winner, of course, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, see, fuck you, Razzies.
As
fuck
Barney
you.
Ross.
Fuck right off. You're no way in hell. Like, Stallone on his worst day is still miles better than Douglas in Ant-Man 3 or 2 or whatever the fuck it is. No way in hell. No way in hell.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you, but yeah, it's like he just doesn't have enough screen time to come close to being Michael Douglas, because Michael Douglas is in quite a lot of Ant-Man.
The only reason Michael Douglas is not allowed to win is if they give it to that fucking Christopher Robin prick. Then I'll accept it. Then I'll go fair play. But otherwise, Douglas is set for this.
I'm just, I think they should be like, they're just being understanding of Michael Douglas's heroic recovery from going down on his wife too much. It's Janet's fault, Scott. No, it's Chance's daughter. Oops. No, Hope's daughter. Okay, I didn't accidentally imply incest there. My Ant-Man riffs. We need to go back to the quantum realm, Scott. Only there if they got the cure to throat cancer. Okay, so worst supporting actress, Mary Stuart Masterson in Five Nights at Freddy's as Aunt Jane.
I did not. I like Mary Stuart Masterson and things. I didn't see Five Nights at Freddy's. I watched a little bit. It looked bad, but it didn't look as bad as I expected. It looked better than Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Miles fucking better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's a missed opportunity in a lot of ways, but it's not technically...
It is.
Yeah. You can't fault the performances, really.
But yeah, that's it. Like, the film could be here because the film's pretty bad, and it could be nominated and be relevant. But no. Yeah.
It's just weird to single her out as the only one,
very
which just
so.
Strikes as like, I haven't seen enough movies with women.
Yep. Pluck. Pluck.
Yeah. Then we have Lucy Liu, Shazam, Fury of the Gods as Calypso. Okay, so she is the same size of role. Like, it's probably like a Roger Rabbit thing where she has the exact same screen time as Helen Mirren to the second.
Okay.
And like they're a double act, and she's bad. Like, it's just in a completely different movie to everyone else. Yeah. Then we have Bai Ling, Johnny and Clyde as Zhang. She's bad, but not enough to leave much of an impression in the wasteland of Johnny and Clyde. Kim Cattrall, About My Father as Tigger. Kim Cattrall's okay in About My Father, but About My Father is really weird, and it's odd that De Niro wasn't nominated. And the lead, Sebastian Maniscalco, he is like you should tell. First off, you should tell Sophie. I remember you said in the preview episode that Sophie thought it was a Meet the Fockers film.
Yeah,
it kind of is a Meet the Fockers film. It's just like Meet the Fockers Italian American edition.
Mm-hmm.
And Sebastian Maniscalco delivers a really annoying, like, hey, I'm walking here. And like, he also wrote the film, and it's like his character does a lot of voiceover, and it's just like he's annoying. So like, by comparison, Kim Cattrall is like fine. One thing that, like, because it's like a culture clash of like, he's the son of Italian immigrants and his fiance is like people who came over on the Mayflower, and he's like, all of her relatives got Roman numerals after them, and the only Italians that got Roman numerals after their names are the popes and Rocky Balboa. Hey! He's very Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
So, weird, puzzling movie, but Kim Cattrall is fine. Like, I don't think she's particularly Razzie worthy. And then the winner, Megan Fox, Expendables as Gina. So,
not a good year for her, is it?
No.
Not a good year.
No. We also haven't been keeping tally of our predictions here. So just to update on the score. So I said Winnie-the-Pooh would win Worst Picture. You said The Exorcist, so that's 1-0 to me. For director, I said Reese Frake Waterfield, and you said David Gordon Green, so it's 2-0 to me.
I have banked on the wrong team.
For worst actor, we both said Russell Crowe, so it's still 2-0. For worst actress, you said Helen Mirren, and I said Ana de Armas, so it remains 2-0. For worst supporting actor, you said Michael Douglas, and I said Sly, so it's now 3-0 to me. For
you are the Razzie now.
Yeah. For worst supporting actress, we both said Megan Fox, so it is 4-1 to me.
Consolation goal. That's all that is.
Exactly. Yeah. My clean sheet ruined my Anderson over here. So yeah, she's bad in Expendables. More Razzie worthy than Johnny and Clyde. I would say she stands out more. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of sad to see what she's become.
Yeah.
And like, you used to be like, she wasn't like a great actor necessarily, but like people could use her in interesting ways. Like Jennifer's Body's good. I like that. I'm like she had like a little bit of comic timing in the Transformers films. This is for a like.
This is more generous than I'm giving it. I don't think this is. I don't have the same attachment as I do for like a Lohan, where I'm like, it's great.
Yeah, not at all, not at all. But yeah. So moving on to worst screen combo: Salma Hayek and Channing Tatum, Magic Mike's Last Dance. Don't know what you're talking about. I think they are good. Ana de Armas and Chris Evans, who flunked screen chemistry, Ghosted. Yeah, quite right. They are dreadful individually and almost worse when they're together.
That's great.
Like, my mum got really annoyed at that because, like, they race up the Exorcist steps. They're having a date.
In the trailer,
yeah. Did we speak about that?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I remember the weird cutting between them, and how it was almost like they're on different fucking planets, and they weren't ever sharing a shot together.
Yeah.
And there's some reason they're at the Exorcist stairs.
Yeah. It's like Dexter Fletcher, the director, was obviously the guy who took over Bohemian Rhapsody after a paedophile singer got fired. And I just wonder if he's become like I don't know, just how Wes Anderson is like, let's see how much of a diorama we can make out of each film, or let's see how close we can get live action actors to like stop motion. I wonder if Dexter Fletcher is just like, let's direct every movie as if it's reshoots.
Yeah.
And we don't have people available because they're really bad. And my mum's issue was, she was like, I would never believe that Chris Evans would lose a race, because she's like, he's asthmatic or something. And he's like, oh, I'm just so weak and feeble and out of shape, and I can't beat Ana de Armas in this like race. Oh no. And so perhaps symbolic of the lack of credibility to that relationship. He's also like a stalker. Like he gets embroiled in Ana de Armas's spy adventure because he like tracks her phone or something. Or he like plants an air tag on her. It's weird. Anyway, any two money-grubbing investors who donated to the $400 million for the remake rights to The Exorcist Believer.
That's fun. That good on them. They deserve everything they get. Maybe they weren't money grabbing. Maybe it was like that electronic band that burned £1 million on live TV. So they make a statement. This is what I would do if I was a billionaire. I would buy The Exorcist rights for $440 million and burn it to the ground. No one will ever touch it again. It's killed the franchise. Well done, lads. Well done.
Yeah. And then we have any two merciless mercenaries, Expendables. Just not funny. Like, alliteration does not constitute. Yeah, exactly. And then the winner, Pooh and Piglet as bloodthirsty slashers/killers, Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey. And so for this category, we both said Ana de Armas and Chris Evans, and I think we were right. I don't think Pooh deserves that one. I think they do. This is the one that I don't think Pooh sweep. I don't think that's deserved. But nevertheless, the score remains 4-1 as we are heading in with 4 categories left to play for. So
you fucking won it, because it's just going to be Pooh, Pooh, Pooh from here on out, isn't it?
So, I'm trying to rub it in here. Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel: Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which we kind of clashed about on our preview episode. You feel more positively about it than me.
I'm more positive about it.
Whereas I'm like, this movie violated my childhood.
Yeah, this is your Blood and Honey, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
At least I don't mind. I don't like it. I'll never watch it again. But I didn't hate it, which is all I expected. I like the last half hour a lot.
Maybe this is just a difference in expectations. In like, I think I'm more of an Indiana Jones guy than you.
You are.
And so I'm like, the idea of never watching it again is sacrilege to me, because I'm like, I watched The Force Awakens a bunch of times and I don't really like it. I'm like, cool, yeah, we have Oscar Isaac, we have BB-8 for a little bit, sure, there's maybe like collectively like 20 minutes of stuff that I enjoy in this. We get Max von Sydow. And so the idea of an Indiana Jones movie that I actively want to not see again is like, and it's such a waste of potential. Like, you have Mads Mikkelsen playing Nazi, a time traveling Nazi. How is this as bad as it is? So well deserved.
Where is it placed under Crystal Skull? Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
Far below.
Far below.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's far below for me, but because I do like Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
Yeah, it's right.
But I have a reverse thing where I love most of Crystal Skull apart from obvious bits and the end. Whereas here I hate most of it until the end. I'm in, so I don't know.
I know what you mean. That when he goes to the past, I was kind of like, is this going to pull me in? Right at the end.
It did right at the end. I just wanted to see him fucking whipping Greeks, you know? That's all I want to fucking see.
It's like that weird thing where like expectations being my worst enemy of like just that sinking feeling I get in my stomach whenever I see a movie that I'm really expecting to enjoy, and I'm like, uh-oh, is this not going to be good? There's still time to course correct. This can still be good. Because, like, I was, like, so just exhilarated to see a new Indiana Jones movie. And, like, I like the stuff how he's, like, being like, goddamn baby boomers listening to their Beatles at all hours. Mm-hmm. I liked India just being a curmudgeon in the 60s. I liked that.
There's fun stuff in it.
Yeah, there's fun moments.
You sold your soul to Disney for this movie, and you're gonna hate it for the rest of your life, no matter what it is.
That's kind of my issue. Is like
immortalized for this.
It's like, to me, Indiana Jones. You need John Williams, you need Harrison Ford, you need Spielberg, and you need Lucas, and that's the perfect alchemy. Whereas this, you're missing two pieces of the puzzle.
The two biggest pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, and like. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, sure, like, do I agree with everything? No. Like, is it anyone's best work? No. But it feels like Indiana Jones. Whereas this just feels like it's the covers band of, like, I'm watching, like, a good tribute to Indiana Jones. And, like, it's...
For the last half hour.
Things I don't like about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, like, I kind of like the fridge sequence. I really like the greaser, preppy fight. That's the best sequence. But like Mutt swinging through the trees with all the monkeys.
Take out the vines and take out the alien review. I don't mind the aliens being aliens.
I kind of like,
but how it's done, I hate them in the room and stuff. So just change that and remove the vines, and I'm all aboard Crystal Skull. There's
the Shemansky cuts were just losing the vines.
Just lose the vines.
Yeah, he's riding a motorbike. Of like people being like, oh, there's too much CGI. It's funny, like a lot of the flaws people had with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I was like, there's so much worse here. Of like that opening when they're on the train. I was like, okay, cool. So nothing in this movie is going to be real. Fantastic.
Crystal Skull looks better. It does look better.
That's why this made me kind of sad. But anyway, Expendables 4. Yeah, it's a sequel to Expendables 1.
It sure is.
No one can deny. That is indeed the fourth sequel. Third sequel, I guess. Exorcist Believer. Anything more to say? Anything in the tank?
It is the worst. It should be the winner because it's 440 million to kill a franchise that's beloved for 50 years. And a trilogy, like the Razzie-ness of that, the funny Heaven's Gate of tanking all your money should have won. Whereas that is an actual rip-off, a sequel, a legacy. It clicks all the buttons. So it should have won. Even without pedantic things aside, should have won.
Yeah. And then we have Anthem. Sorry, I'm so tired. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which, like, as like a
sequel,
MCU sequel, whatever. Yeah. And then Winnie-the-Pooh: Blood and Honey. So, like there's a cynicism to it, but the hubris of Exorcist Believer makes it far funnier.
That's absolutely like. Cashing in on something is very different than tanking something.
There's 100%. A plucky underdog quality to Winnie the Pooh, which
it's getting a sequel. It's eligible next year. You know what? Exorcist Deceiver is not. So
Reese Frick Waterfield 1, David Gordon Green 0.
100%.
So moving on to worst screenplay. We have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Screenplay by Henry Gayden and Chris Morgan. So you've not seen that, but yeah, the screenplay is not great. The execution of it is pretty bad, but it's just kind of like they've been thrown under the bus a little bit by like external factors, but it's probably not great on the page either. Then we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, screenplay by Jez Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, David Koepp, and James Mangold, based on characters by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. So
I forgot Koepp wrote this one as well. Well, I don't know if he did I don't know if he did Crystal Skull, but
yeah,
I like Koepp.
Koepp's great. Yeah.
I forgot he was Disney-fied now. What did the Butterworths do again?
Jez is a renowned playwright. I actually just saw his latest play, Hills of California, like a couple months ago. I don't know if they've done... he's also... he's famous for writing Jerusalem, the Mark Rylance thing. I don't know if he's written much films. His connection is he wrote Ford and Ferrari. Mangold brought him on for that, I think.
Okay.
So I think he's like Mangold's guy who's like, hey, fancy punching this up? Oh, he also worked on Spectre, apparently. Oh. Yeah. So I don't like the script. Again.
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't think it's the worst. I think my biggest problem is what you've already touched on. You know, the laziness, the fucking start of it, the CGI flashbacks, all that shit is a big weight on the script as well, because it's the forcing of nostalgia and remember berries and all that shit that is just pretty disgusting. Once he's old man Jones traveling in time, I'm having a good time. But until then, I do have problems with it. It's not very great.
Yeah, it's like I just said for Shazam, of like it's kind of been thrown under the bus a little bit by the direction of like, if you put this screenplay in Spielberg's hands, I would probably like it a lot more. Yeah,
that's the thing is I can't say this is I'm gonna stand up for this, because this is better than Pulp Mania for fucking sure. At least I knew what was going on. And like it made sense. Like I didn't have a fucking clue why Major Davis was in a fucking quantum realm fucking about. I still don't know what was going on,
because he I don't for the cure to his cancer. I don't think it's
told you. I think it was fine. Indeed, it's not good, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, that was probably like a snap call where I'm like, I think if I read that, I would probably be pretty excited to watch it. Actually, I think it's maybe maybe 100%. Lacking a little piece of like Lucas weirdness, but even the going back in time, that could be like, oh wow, you've done it again, George.
That is, you could have told me that was like, the notes that was on a floppy disk or something that they found, the Indy 5 floppy disk. And that was the only notes, time traveling Nazis taken for Lucas.
If we can get these.
Because there's a plane as well, The plane makes me think of fucking Red Tails and Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So give me more Lucas. Give me less Lucas than Crystal Skull. More
okay,
Lucas
stricken from the list. Exonerated indeed. Okay, so then we have Expendables, screenplay by Kurt Wimmer, Tad Daggerhart, and Max D. Adams, story by Spencer Cohen, Kurt Wimmer, and Ted Dagenhart, based on characters created by David Callahan. Okay, David Callahan didn't create any characters, because he's just like, there's Arnie, there's Stallone, there's Dolph Lundgren.
Who is what is Daggerhart?
That's exactly. Black on Wikipedia.
That's not a real person. Yeah, that's not a real person. Ted Daggerhart, the writer of Expendables, does not exist. I refuse to believe it. What did the other guy do?
What one? The first name Wimmer.
The first film.
One Tough Bastard, starring Brian Bosworth and Bruce Payne. Oh, Equilibrium. He also did Law Abiding Citizen, Salt, Expendables 4, and The Beekeeper. I'm sure.
Oh, you had a
I'm
good
sure
year for
soon to
him.
be future Razzie nominee, the Beekeeper.
Yeah, so I got nothing to say. I'm surprised there's that many names there for Expendables 4 and it isn't just a post-it note with Arnie, get Arnie, Sly's leaving 20 minutes in. There you go. Go.
Yeah, this is a weird category, as like Expendables 4 probably isn't like, it's maybe not exactly funny, but like it could be punched up with more gags and one-liners, but like on the page, I'm sure it would read perfectly fine as like an 80s. Like it has the revenge arc, like you said, it's like clearly plotted enough that like I think it's like directed poorly and like doesn't have as much juice like in terms of action that holds it back. So I like yeah, sure, but like it doesn't scream worst screenplay to me. Like Ant-Man.
Yes, yeah,
Ant-Man's
100%,
just like
100%.
okay, like maybe give this another pass. Then we have The Exorcist Believer, screenplay by Peter Sattler and David Gordon Green, story by Scott Teems, Danny McBride, and David Gordon Green, based on characters by William Peter Blatty.
Fuck. We were this close for having Danny McBride be eligible for the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
So fucking close. Yeah, no, this is more worthy, of
Yeah.
course, because I haven't read the script, but everything you have told me, seeing that on paper, must be what the fuck,
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Like, but why? She's 94 years old. But why? Like on paper, this is so stupid. And I bet you the pitch is fine. I can imagine the pitch
Yeah.
for this twins and all the little twists and how we're going to modernize
Yeah.
it and bring it back legacy. I think the pitch is fine. The script is going to be fucking hideous. I bet you Danny McBride's story idea again on a post-it is
Yeah.
fine, but the actual screenplay is a fucking why it's so stupid. Yeah, I guess that's a big fucking reason. And the dialogue that you've shown me, if that's on the page, then fuck off. I wish Blatty and Friedkin could have watched it together. That's all I wish for. It could have reconciled
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. It's lacking the I would because Danny McBride's on the credit for story. I'd have liked him to work on the actual
Yeah,
screenplay because then we could have got more lines like the horrendous piece of dialogue in Halloween Ends where Laurie Strode's like makes you want to rip off your shirt, show grief your fucking tits, and say, you know what? Let's go. And I'm like, that works as something that Danny McBride could conceivably say. It
yeah,
doesn't work so
yeah.
much coming from Jamie Lee Curtis.
Pazuzu voice. That's my
Yeah,
answer.
Danny McBride would have been perfect for writing the demon. You should have just voiced
Perfect.
the demon.
It should just make a stoner comedy with
Yeah,
Danny
Danny
McBride.
McBride's
Easier.
character from This Is the End is just the demon. So then the winner, Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey, screenplay by Rhys Frake Waterfield, based on the book by A. Milne and E. H. Shepard. So that's well deserved, really.
Clean sweep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the category is relatively weak, but yeah.
It is very weak. I still think on merit Exorcist deserves it
Yeah.
more because this didn't Winnie the Pooh we talked about didn't barely had a screenplay.
Yeah.
It didn't have a script. You can tell
Mm-hmm.
that. And as an idea, it's $1 million winning idea on
Yeah.
paper. So fuck it. I don't know. I think the bigger flop. I still go with Exorcist and Ant-Man are much worse. Oh, fucking screenplays, ideas, the whole thing,
Yeah.
story, conception.
Yeah. Okay, so for our predictions, worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel. I said Winnie the Pooh and you said The Exorcist, so I think that makes it 5-1 to me.
5-1. You fucking wiped me with Winnie the Pooh, mate.
And then for this category, worst screenplay, we both said Winnie the Pooh, so that makes it 5-2. And so that brings us on to the Razzie Redeemer Award. So for that, you will remember that you said Keanu Reeves for John Wick, and I said Will Ferrell for Barbie, and then in text later attempted to change that to Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer because I was like, oh my god, I was thinking of him, but I was like, nah, it won't be
Right.
like Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man, forgetting that he was a Razzie Award nominee for Doolittle. But we were
Mm-hmm.
both wrong, as the Razzie Redeemer Award. She was the only nominee, actually. They normally list the other ones. But the Razzie Redeemer Award went to Fran Drescher, the 1998
Oh.
nominee for The Beautician and the Beast, and current SAG-AFTRA president for her brilliant shepherding of the Actors Guild through a prolonged 2023 strike with a successful conclusion.
Oh no, okay, never mind. I was wondering where that was gonna go. I was like, nah, I spoke about this fucking to death. I think the Redeemer should be someone that needs redeemed. I don't think Downey Jr. was
Yeah, yeah.
eligible because one nomination fucking 8 years ago is not the same as being like curb stomped like Stallone and Keanu Reeves and all these Sandra Bullocks. These are the ones, the Halle Berrys. These are the ones that are going to redeem themselves because they're always fucking.
Yeah.
Fran winning it for being a good old union man is not eligible in my opinion. And again, what Beautician and the Beast? Like we fucking just jumped over that. No, we've seen that nomination. Neither of us had seen it.
Yep.
We moved on. Probably.
100%.
Fucking nah, that was devastating. That's so poor. I'm really disappointed there. You had good choices this year as well. That we thought there was quite a Ferrell's a very good shout. Fucking actual winner, headliner. Ah,
Yeah. So this is kind of tied up with like the Barry L. Bumstead Award, in that like we both kind of predicted there might be some reference to the strikes, but we didn't think it would be like a positive one for the union. We thought it would be like an anti-studio one,
mm-hmm.
and the Barry L. Bumstead Award. On Wikipedia, they mention that the possibility of it going to Disney as a studio. That says ultimately the award was not presented. So that brings us to a close for the awards. But we do need to talk about the fact that there was an actual ceremony for once. So they did what we've said, really, of like we've been like, even if you don't want to have an in-person, could you give it a little bit of razzmatazz, just like have some form of presentation rather than like a press release. So the Razzies were taken over by the Mean Gays, who did a little YouTube pre-record. So, like, I don't know. Did you watch any of it?
I did. Did I fuck? Raging. Absolutely fucking raging. Yeah, it could have been. We had him on this fucking podcast. We have a bigger fan. We have. Oh no, I'm furious. I'm not gonna watch The Exorcist, and I'm not gonna watch the award ceremonies. I would fight. How
You
were they?
are
Take
a
us through how
homophobe.
they were.
It's funny because I just seen one of the Mean Gays, a video he did earlier on, and I was like, oh, that's really good. I really like this guy. Can you see what else he does? And then, like less than a week later, he's hosting the Razzies, and I'm like, do I like you that much? He is quite good. He is quite good.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're great. I have nothing personal against
Yeah,
them. It's bitterness on my behalf.
yeah. The stream. I don't know. Like, I'm happy that we got something. I don't wanna demand too much. Like some jokes are funny. Like it's kind of like Kimmel, I guess. Of like, yeah, they hit with some stuff.
Well,
There's like
do they give is because I picture us hosting when we host next year's Razzies, right? And we're putting some fucking effort into the Razzies, not just selling ourselves and pimping ourselves out. Is that the case with these guys? Have they got the respect for the Razzies, or are they just there to get
they definitely like they're definitely good hosts. Like they have like they know their Razzie history, and they make reference to like all sorts of things throughout the awards. There's like a real ham-fisted Nicole Kidman AMC joke, but that was I think my main like eesh cringe moment. But like no, they're good. Yeah, it's not like a PR thing. Like they are decent hosts. Like some of the gags hit, some of them don't. But like I did laugh at it.
Okay.
My
That's
like I was saying, I don't want to ask for like too much because like I'm just happy that there was something, but I'm like, this should be live. I don't want like a pre-record green screen thing. I want like a live
well, that's
stream.
what we as
I want
that's where we're doing the Twitch with the fucking backgrounds and the full red car. Like I'm
that
bankrupt us.
sense of
I will
danger
put us
that
in
Will
debt.
Smith could
Yeah,
come on and
yeah,
slap us at any given moment.
exactly. And that's kind of what I would think like the classic awards are fun is the
Yeah,
invitation's open. We're
yeah.
hosting it.
If
You
you want
know,
to come
like
down
we
to Aberdeen, Tom
don't.
Green, then you.
No, well, Darren can fly us out. You know, we'll do it. We'll do it over there. We'll get Tom Green out the mountains. We'll be fine. But I like that day. We could invite. You don't know who's
Yeah,
going to show
yeah,
up, and that's why I'm like, don't go for Winnie
yeah.
the Pooh because they want to show up. They're gonna milk it. You know, they're gonna be me and
Don't
never
invite
leave the
anyone who
fucking
would
stage like
possibly
Tom
want to
Green.
show up. Invite
No, you're
Franco
one.
Nero.
Yes, because he might
Yeah.
show up and then you've got chaos. You've got some. What am I going to do to a 92-year-old Frank Nero? He's going to knock me out and I'm going to cry.
Well,
So
we've already
it's
got
going to be great.
that potential Sylvester Stallone phone call to Mr. Razzie. If we want Mr. Stallone turning up, I think I could take a slap from Will Smith. I'm less sure I could take a punch from Rocky. That might just be the end.
What a way to go, though.
True, yeah. So the only before we announce the winner of the predictions, there is one final award, which is the Lifetime Achievement Award for Paloma Diamond, and this is my biggest criticism. So this is just like a TikTok in joke of I'm like, why on earth like that was my one thing where I was like this like I was like I don't know, it's like it struck me where I was like, Mr. Razzie doesn't know who Paloma Diamond is. Like, why have you ground this prestigious ceremony to a halt for like this in joke, this like TikTok? How do you do, fellow kids? In joke of I'm like, this is a serious awards show. You can't undermine it by like giving worst actor to yourself. Like
No.
this has press this is going to be enshrined in Razzie history. You must take these things seriously.
I think there's such a missed potential for a fun joke in there because Stallone won again this year. And I would have it every time Stallone wins, he wins the lifetime again. Every time. Just keep giving him the lifetime achievement. Make it into a fun joke. Let's make it a bit looser, or give it to Frank Stallone. Give it to anybody that get them back into the realm. Get a fucking someone. Yeah, I don't. It's just it's just sellout. It's cheap. That's why I don't like it. It's just this nasty sort of fakeness that I don't like about it. You don't know what this is. You should have given this to someone.
It's just
give it to someone.
Yeah,
better.
it's just like a big generational gap where I'm like, it's clearly like trying to like it's like two different demographics, I guess, of like I don't know. But anyway, that brings us to a close for another year, and of course the prediction results: rampaging 5-2 victory for me. I haven't yet decided what your forfeit is going to be, so I don't think we'll be back next week. We'll give it an unspecified time in the future. We will return with another special.
Mid-season break.
So that gives you time, listeners. Get in touch with any suggestions of what you might want to inflict on Kyle as the forfeit for losing the predictions.
I've just spent 2 hours saying I'll never watch this film. I'll never watch this film. You'll never get me to watch this film. So don't even think about it.
We'll take those off the table. But you were generous enough to inflict the ladies' man on me, which was a tremendous time. But and you can contact us with those suggestions at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. You can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all your platforms. And that's where you will be able to get the word of when we are going to return next with that special. So, it's been a pleasure speaking at you again, and it's good to have another Razzie Awards ceremony. So, thanks for listening, and keep safe, and we will be back to you in the future.
Thanks, everybody. It's been wonderful again. Bye.